Alright, guys. So we are here. Hold on. Alright, guys. Let me know if you can hear me through the mic. We got PPI inflation data today. We got the Fed rate hike decision today. We got the SPY on the right. You can see Tesla. SPY up. Q up big yesterday, too. Q almost over 400. Mike's good. Alright, good. Alright. Oh, we're here. We're awake. I'm going to do a poll here. Alright, so PPI is expected at 0.3%, I think. Let me see. .1% is what's expected. 0.1%. Higher. Lower. Alright, so vote on the poll. Does the PPI come in higher or lower than the 0.1% expected? Hey, what's up, Beach Bum? Bro, you get, like, every big video we get, I gotta ban a bunch of bots, dude. Alright, we're gonna get some music playing as well. Bear with me, team, getting everything set up. Alright, PPI inflation data expected at 0.1% today. Sorry, I'm just drinking my coffee. I'm waking up a little bit. Bear with me. Slap that like button if you haven't already, team. We appreciate it. Yeah, I'm looking at my portfolio from yesterday. What's up, Victor, Paulo, Ali, Beach, Jonah, Dirtbike, Alexis? It's going good. BJJ's going good. Haven't been this week. My wrist and forearm have been kind of jacked up, but hey, thanks so much, Victor. All right, so we're gonna get some music playing as well. All right. So, yeah, we're going to Tesla ready to rip. Jay Powell speaks at 2:30 today. Yeah, he does the rate hike decisions at 2 p.m. and then Powell speaks at 2:30 today. So that's the procedure for the day. Where's my coffee? Oh, here it is. I gotta hit my coffee. All right, so AMC, Adam Aaron making a post here yesterday, and it didn't help. Adam Aaron's probably getting under some heat right now. Let's just be honest. All right, so Adam Aaron posted yesterday. He said, Adam Aaron posted yesterday. Yesterday, we announced that AMC fully completed its $350 million at-the-market equity raise, which commenced November 9th. That brings the total cash raised since September 1st to $675 million into a total of $865 million cash raised in 2023. All three figures are prior to bankers' commissions, legal fees, and related costs. We realize there are some who question these strategies in social media and sometimes loudly, but they do not shoulder the responsibility of guiding a multi-billion-dollar enterprise through highly challenging circumstances, and they fundamentally do not understand how absolutely vital and indeed essential it is that AMC have robust cash reserves. Having ample cash on hand is the single best arrow in our quiver to withstand the pressures caused by an industry-wide box office that is still more than 20% below COVID levels, combined with 5 months of writers and actors strikes that cripple film production in 23. Our successfully raising a boatload of cash is extremely good news. So I mean, we know you needed to do it, Ron. I'm not saying you didn't need to do it, Adam. What I'm saying is that it's a bad freaking sign. No matter what people want to say about how strong AMC is, it's a bad freaking sign if you got to dilute the company and sell shares. It's a bad sign. You might need to do it. Nobody's arguing that you need to do it. It's still 100% a bad sign. It's never a good sign to dilute it, because what it means is that they're not making enough cash on hand to give themselves the reserve that they should have. And let me know what you guys think of that. I'm in AMC. I hope it goes up, but yeah, I think at least what I'm happy about is at least people are starting to wake up to what this really is. A lot of people got mad at me when I would start to talk like this about AMC, but hopefully people are snapping out of it. I'm in such a small share of AMC, but I'm holding it. I want it to go up, but if it doesn't, I'm still open to criticize it. I'm in Walgreens right now. How are they doing? I'm actually green in my Walgreens trade, though. I was red in it for a minute. Google's still treating me pretty nice. Home Depot up a lot, too. Bro, AMC traders are literally turning into like degenerate gamblers. Some guy said this is interesting. 865 is the area code for Knoxville, Tennessee. Knoxville, Tennessee is where Taylor Swift so happens to call home. Nashville is right next door. Maybe partnership with Taylor Swift coming. Like, bro, why don't you just ask Adam Aaron to blow on the dice for you? Okay? Like, come on now, bro. Like, snap out of it, dude. Like, think about it, man. Like, you might as well ask Adam Aaron to blow on the freaking dice for you, bro, because that's essentially what we're getting here. Honestly, we've had some nice volatility the last couple days. Yeah, some guy actually had it right. No, don't read into this dude's tweets. He's not running a secret movie cabal against the short sellers. He does not care about retail any. Like, yeah. I have to literally stop myself from just making fun of people in the comments. Let me just bow out of this and move away. Yeah, dude. Honestly, what I'm laughing at, again, I saw somebody post this. Inverse Kramer shared this from Robert Kiyosaki. It is so true, man. Hold on. Like, let me show you guys this. And again, y'all, again, I'm seeing now, to be honest, I'm seeing a lot of people start to pivot towards my type of thing, right? Like, you guys know I've been like this for years and years. All right. What I see is a lot of people start to finally like be the same way, which kind of makes me want to be short biased a little bit, if I'm being honest. But you see Robert Kiyosaki, the market crash predictor. This is it. This is it. Has successfully predicted 22 of the last 3 crashes. This is it. This is it. You know, wakes up every day and just wants to predict how the market's going to crash down only from here. This is it. And this was shared by Inverse Kramer. But again, the problem is like a lot of these same guys that are sharing this now, 2 months ago were actually predicting that the market was going to crash, right? And so I'm not saying they're now all of a sudden piggybacking off of what I've been saying. They might be, you know. Which, again, makes me trust the upside a little bit less. People just have to understand, man. Like what happens, you want me to tell you why you got so many people that don't understand? Is because so many people have only entered the stock market in the last like few years, right? Like if you just entered the stock market in the last few years, right, and you see the 2021 dip and correction, you see the mortgage crisis coming to fruition, you see all these different things happening, you see inflation super high, you might think that it's time. You might think this is it. But again, what you'll realize is that the market's typically a little bit more resilient. They don't want the market to crash, and so they're going to do what they can to stop it. Bro, You got somebody saying, so let me get this straight. The AMC community is just plentiful content. Somebody saying, so let me get this straight. AMC reduces debt and the stock tanks 5%. WTF? What the heck, bro? It's dilution. They are diluting the company, sir. They are literally diluting the shares of the float. Like, they are adding more shares to the float. They are diluting shares by selling shares. When you dilute, you have to sell shares. When you sell shares, you are diluting the float of the company. That is a bad thing. Healthy companies don't do that. It's a bad sign. Aside from like reverse splits. I'm on the side of building for selling in the next week. You on the bullish side? I mean, I'm always typically pretty bullish, brother. But like, you know, it really is nuanced, man. Again, I'm almost always typically bullish, right? But like, long term, I'm bullish. I want the market to go up, and I always admittedly tell people it's confirmation bias. Like, the crazy thing is how much you have to educate people on like stock market structure and business in the meme companies like AMC, GameStop. Like, a lot of people don't understand. They truly don't understand what an offering is. Like, they genuinely don't understand what an offering is, right? Because they're brand new. They got talked into buying the stock, and now they're making, Twitter profiles called practical stocks about AMC. I'm sorry. It's kind of like a car accident. Like, I can't look away. All right. Dollar General is oversold. Bob is too difficult to predict what it's going to be. How do you feel about the housing market? Hearing lots of bubble bursting talk. Oh, the housing market is certainly sketchy. For sure. Certainly sketchy. But, yeah, I mean, the housing market is certainly sketchy right now. I'm not touching the housing market. All right, team. Alright. We're in there. Very cool. We got to roll over. So NASDAQ H4 is the new symbol. Volume definitely looks better on that one too right now. Where's the SPY right now too? NASDAQ is up a lot as well, but the whole market's pretty floppy aside from Also, y'all slap the like button, guys. Help me break 200 likes. I see only one like. I should have to reset. Okay, yeah, we got 47 likes. We can do better than that. Yeah, eventually it will hit some crazy number like that for sure, San Diego. We don't know when, though. What it boils down to is this, right? You want to know why there's so many bearish traders? Because they're day traders, right? When day traders, and long-term investors are typically bullish, right? But when you day trade, you short a lot, right? And day trading also makes you incredibly skeptical as a person. I come from day trading. I'm incredibly skeptical as a person, right? And so a lot of the time what you see is a lot of day traders have these really bearish long-term predictions in the stock market. But the problem is that they don't really understand long-term gains in the stock market. They don't really understand what it means, how to do it. And so they end up having these long-term bearish predictions in stocks, and they just end up being wrong and holding on to that wrong prediction too long until they finally understand. All right, team. FOMC is scary. Yeah, Tesla. Again, guys, Tesla dipped yesterday. Still at 233, so over 230. U.S. oil. You swing trade? I do a little bit of everything. You can still. I think the rollover happens technically pad tomorrow. So I think tomorrow is technically when the rollover is. So basically, I think after tomorrow you have to trade NQH4 if it's the NASDAQ, but I'm not 100% sure. I would reach out to them and check to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. After tomorrow, you got to trade NQH4. Again, slap that like button, guys. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. We're going to do a poll. All right, so producer price index today. All right, so producer price index. We're going to do this poll here. We're going to put a timer up as well, guys. We got over 200 people here now. Yeah, we got an hour and a half. We'll make it 29 and yeah. All right, so here's the timer until PPI inflation data. We're gonna do the poll on Twitter. Make it 2 hours. that poll live as well if you want to vote on it. Gold, where I'm in gold right now. Gold is up a little bit today. Still down though yesterday. So gold is dropping some. Still under 2,000, but basically flat. PPI is a little bit like less known what's going to be considered bullish or bearish. It really is. So like we don't know what the market's going to consider bullish or bearish. PPI is kind of that outlier that moves a little bit differently relative to convention. And so PPI is one of those ones that could come in at anything and move in any way. I stopped trying to bet on what's going to mean typically lower inflation is better. So typically a lower PPI is going to be better, right? But lately it hasn't been following any type of like logic at all. You know. You speaking truth. I think you said something like this before. Long-term trading is like taking the stairs and shorting is like taking the elevator. Market will always take the stairs back up. 100%. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, we're going to be live for the FOMC meeting as well. Alcohol taxes aren't high enough according to the WHO. Yeah, I'm reading some other stuff that's not very... Yeah, but SpaceX doesn't actually bring in any money, though, so that's the difference. And so they could say it's worth whatever. I could say this coffee mug is worth $1 billion, you know. But until we actually get some offers for $1 billion for this company, I don't know. What's the strategy called before buys? That's where you buy before the close. I have no idea. Any thoughts on the future of tobacco? I really don't know what's going to happen there. I think they're obviously going to lose market share as time goes on because of vaping, and I think they probably already have over the last 2 decades or so since that really started to become a thing. But what they look like moving forward, I don't know. I don't consume tobacco, and so I really don't know. You know what I mean? Like I just don't consume tobacco, so I really just don't know what they're gonna do. But yeah. Yeah, interesting enough, I bought Walmart. Walmart's been on a big downward move. And it's the holiday season, and I just think it's freaking Walmart. So I bought a little bit. We'll probably add a little bit more. Yeah. We're pretty much flat on it, though. It gives me a chance to make some money on it. I think people are still going to use it. To what degree, though, are people still going to use is the question. Like, I think people are always still going to use tobacco, right? But, like, are they going to lose market share over time is the real question. And I have no idea. No freaking idea. Market's incredibly flat right now. Incredibly flat. Getting some of my chart prime stuff set up here. CGC is moving some. Does anyone think we can get enough oil from him? I don't know. I think CGC and other companies like that are going to be pretty paused until we get federal legalization, which who knows when that's going to be. But, like, again, what you see, and I said this yesterday, I'll say it again, what you see is that neither political side wants it legal, despite what they say. They can claim that they do. Actions show differently. Neither side actually wants it legal. Both sides are making too much money. They're getting too many PAC donations from the pharmaceutical industry and law enforcement and the prison industry to really have any, like, desire to legalize it. You can see it in their actions, right? They just don't. They never put out reasonable bills that they know are going to get approved. And so I think the cannabis market, especially in stocks, is going to struggle until that happens. And I think it's mostly just going to be a sideways looking move, maybe a downward move until that happens. And I'm not sure when that's going to happen. It might be, again, 10 years ago, I thought it would have happened by now, but you know. Hey, thanks. Jerry Maguire, yeah. Yeah, I don't know any vape symbols. I don't know any of that, man. I used to smoke a lot. The way I quit was actually very simple. I think it's the blueprint for everybody quitting. The way I quit was very simple. I went from smoking cigarettes to vaping nicotine. And then I went from vaping nicotine to vaping CBD. And then I went from vaping CBD to nothing. And then that's it. Never went back. Never even, struggled with it again. And I smoked since I was 16. I smoked from when I was 16 to when I was like 28, 30 maybe. Quit when I was 28 or 30 and never started again. And I quit in that exact same way. All right, guys. Again, slap that subscribe button. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. We trade crypto a little bit. Yeah, NASDAQ could. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very limited, naive view of it. San Diego, he said, I think vaping is a fad. I think that's obviously not the case. You want to know why? I'll give you the opposing argument for that, brother. The reason that vaping is not a fad, number one, is that vaping has been around for a decade now, and it's still strong. It's still big. Number two, it's convenience factor, right? Vaping is simply, regardless of health implications, vaping is simply more convenient than it ever will. Okay. One of the huge flaws of cigarettes, and again, my mom is a cigarette smoker. Like, I have like family that smokes cigarettes a lot. I know I used to smoke, right? I know what the flaws of it are. What the flaws are is that it makes your whole house smell like crap. And people who don't smoke cigarettes definitely smell it. People who smoke cigarettes gain kind of like an immunity to the smell. They don't smell it anymore, but everybody else does, right? And it really makes everything you own stink. And, like, my kids go to private school. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anybody smoking around me, and I don't want to smell like cigarettes when I go up to their school. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. And I'm not being judgmental. I'm just being honest. Like, I don't want to smell like that when I go pick my kids up. And so that's one of the huge, like, flaws of tobacco, is that you stink when you smoke it. It's just the reality of it. You stink if you smoke it. And you might not care about that smell when you're young and early 20s or late teens or whatever it is. But once you get to be like a real adult, you care about that stuff, man. You don't want to, it's all about first impressions, and that gives you a bad first impression. And so having something that, number one, is not detectable in smell, right? You can't really smell it, is a huge benefit of it, that, regardless of trends or whatever, regardless of any of that stuff, it's obviously going to be around. This is one of the most self-evident things I've ever seen. Like, obviously vapes are still going to be here in 10 years. They're probably going to become more large. I think the entire tobacco industry as a whole is going to dwindle down. Because, again, frankly, people don't need it as much anymore. There's better ways to use it now. Now, I still think, like, you're gonna have this push and pull of natural, right? Like, it's gonna be kind of like the push and pull of, like, natural organic push, right? So some people are gonna be like natural organic tobacco. Other people are gonna be like, oh, convenience and vaping. But you're always going to have vaping, I think, from now on. Since we've developed that technology, we might have different technologies that maybe claim to introduce it in a better, less harmful way. But we're always going to have something like that. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen if PPI comes in higher. Again, PPI's inflation report is much more different than the CPI. Like, PPI is not really a predictable report, in my opinion. Like, I've seen a lot of these. It's never really predictable. Like, PPI, you might as well throw a dart at a dartboard to see what happens, because it's not a predictable outcome. Like, we can come in higher than expected, and you would think the market would fall. And a lot of the time the market goes up. We can come in lower than expected, and you think the market would go up, but the market dips. And so I really don't know what's going to happen here with PPI. I really don't. PPI is the less given inflation report. I smoke and vaping is just not as satisfying. I mean, that's fine. I understand it. That's subjective. But what you have to understand is that what you lack to understand, San Diego, is this. All right. And again, it's all good, brother. It's all good. I'm trying to give you a different perspective. All right. Now, when you grew up, all right, you might have smoked cigarettes. You know what I mean? And tried cigarettes, and then eventually tried vaping as like a means of convenience for those cigarettes, right? But when young people nowadays get older, they're not going to try cigarettes. They're going to try vaping first, right? That is going to be what they're used to. That is going to be the prime experience they chase, right? And cigarettes, they might be able to use it afterwards. But that's the big difference, is that they're not going to be starting off like I did when I was 15, cigarettes in my backyard. They're going to be starting off with vaping most of the time, and I hope they don't. It's something I really don't want my kids to do. Like, I really don't want my kids to do it. We actually have nicotine tests here that I test. I've got a teenage daughter, so she better not be. My philosophy on that is, if you test them in different things, there's always that fear, right? And if they have the fear, they're less likely to do it, right? So if they have the fear that they could get tested at any moment for alcohol, for tobacco, for anything like that, then they're going to be less likely to do it, you know? Because I remember growing up, I was the same way. When I was like 14 and 15, my parents used to test me, and I had that fear. I had the fear of God in me that if I got unlucky and my parents tested me, I was going to be in deep trouble, you know? So it helped me stay a little bit more clean when I was younger. Not to say that I did stay completely, but like I think it was helpful, and I do it with my kids too. Yeah, it's all good, San Diego. It's all good, bro. Yeah, I'm a little bit younger than you, but same kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. I can't even do it anymore, Pawn. Like like the last time I was at the beach, a family member was doing it, and like I tried one, and I was just kind of like, ugh. It was a horrible experience, bro. I'd never want to do it, man, like anymore. Oh no, I'm a big believer in that too, Mars. Mars says don't be too strict at 18, they'll go wild. I 100% agree with that as well. I think if you shelter your kids too much and don't let them experience life, when they turn 18 and they get those chains off of them, they're gonna freak out. You know, I'm a big believer in that too. I think you have to allow your kids to experience life safely. You know what I mean? To a certain extent. I don't mean let them try dumb stuff, but like movies are a good example, right? Like a lot of people really restrict the movies that their children watch, right? They really restrict like movies that their kids watch, right? And I completely disagree with that. Like in my opinion, I would rather watch these type of movies with them. Like maybe they're PG-13, maybe they're rated R. I would rather watch these movies with my kids, let them experience movies and experience these different aspects of life, because that's real life, right? Like violence happens, like it's life. If you don't let them experience it, they're going to become obsessed with those things when they get older, and they're going to wild out and freak out about it. You know, typically the people who are like cuckoo for that type of stuff, when they get it like as adults, like the people that are like truly obsessed with different things, like maybe they're obsessed with violence, or maybe they're obsessed with all these different things. Usually the kids that are, or the people that are like that, are people who were very sheltered from those things growing up. Right? So they developed like an obsession around them as they got older, and that led to really unhealthy things. And so I think balance is a real key to life and everything. Like balance is there. You got to be balanced. And if you shelter your kids too much with that type of stuff, and basically the other thing is like parenting style, right? Like if you're like a freaking drill sergeant with your kids, and you're basically authoritarian, and you never let them have any type of wiggle room for anything, and you're incredibly firm, and you just never allow them to have any type of wiggle room with anything, you're incredibly cold and authoritarian and firm, you're generally going to produce unhappy children. You're going to produce unhappy kids. Your kids aren't going to be happy. They'll either overly fear their parents in an unhealthy way, or they're just not going to be happy. On the other side of that, if you are too neglectful and like you don't let them, you know, and you don't care about them at all, and you have no restrictions on them, basically you never tell them no, that's a bad thing as well. That's a different thing. The right answer is usually somewhere in the middle, and you know, I think they call it a authoritative parenting style. A firm but fair parenting style is how you want. That's usually going to produce the happiest kids. Yeah, so again, FOMC news happens at 2 p.m. for the rate hike decision, and then the press conference is going to be at 2:30. Sorry, John's parenting advice. You're welcome, guys. Point is, don't over-shelter your kids. Don't be too overprotective. Let them experience life, you know? Right, exactly. Yeah, you gotta let a kid have ice cream sometimes, bro. You know, they're gonna have access to it when they get older. And so, yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Hey, slap that like button, hit the subscribe button. Again, looking at stocks this morning. Yeah, and a lot of people get that wrong because a lot of dads are thinking like, back in my day, I used to, but again, it's balance. Balance is right. So we had NBA 30-year mortgage rate come out at 7.07%, lower than last time as well. So we've seen mortgage rates for 30-year mortgage rates drop for 3 weeks in a row. It's still pretty high at 7.07%, but it's getting better. It looks genuinely better here. PPI is at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. There might be a timer in the top left corner counting down exactly how much time is left until the report comes out. I'm mostly looking at the S&P, the NASDAQ. So I'm probably planning a Vegas trip this summer, guys. Probably planning a Vegas trip this summer. What's a good way I can sell my wife? I really want to go to take some high stakes poker tournaments, but what's a good way to sell my wife on the Vegas family experience? Like, I've seen Vegas Vacation, so I understand like the Hoover Dam, right? But that's kind of where I'm at, the Hoover Dam, right? What else? I mean, I think Vegas has got a lot of good stuff, right? Help me sell Vegas to my wife, because I'm going this summer. I told my wife she can come with me or she can stay here with the kids. I'm going, Help me sell it to my wife, Circus, the Sphere. John, how would this PPI affect markets? I really don't know. PPI, again, CPI, we generally know. Higher is worse, lower is better, right? But again, with PPI, it's a little bit more nuanced. We don't really know how it's going to react to how markets are going to react to it. We just don't know. PPI is one of those outlier reports that I have a very difficult time predicting the outcome of. You would conventionally think that lower is better for PPI, but that's not the case here, to be honest. Like, you would conventionally think lower is better. Again, not always the case. Sometimes it's just wildly different than that. Yeah, definitely Douglas. Not family friendly anymore? I got 4 kids as a full-time single dad. I find they crave authority but can't help. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, here's a good example. Yesterday I was with my son, right? And my son, I'm bringing him to a doctor's appointment, right? And my son is walking into this doctor's appointment with his hood completely over his head. Like, his hood is completely over his head so he can't see anything. Right? And he's walking up this spiral staircase at the doctor's office. And another lady looks at me and goes just like this. Another lady looks at me and goes, and like me as a dad, I'm like, hey, bro, take that down. What are you doing? And he rips it back down. And then I said, hey, man, you can't see. And he says, no, I can see. And he rips it back down. And so him and I do this for like 4 or 5 times in a row where my son's just ignoring me, just ripping his hood down. Everybody's staring at him. And so eventually I've got to stop, sit him down, and say, listen, man, if you do this one more time, bro, you're going to be grounded when you get home. Like, you're going to be in deep trouble, bro. Like, if I ask you to do something, especially over and over again, you better do it, And he finally listens. But kids are defiant, man. They just don't want to listen. That's normal, Like, it's I think it's probably instinctual to a certain extent. All right. NASDAQ is flushing down a little bit. Let's see if it continues on a short-term chart. Can my kids fit in a Lamborghini at the same time? I'd rent a Lambo, but can my kids fit in it? All right, the Mobster Museum. They've got really cool pools. Cirque du Soleil. Yeah, there's some like big pools and stuff like that. That I could sell, like water parks is how I could sell my kids to it, like big water parks. Yep, that's an option. The Las Vegas Sphere is great. I've seen the Sphere, but is that like a actual event, or is that just kind of like a big poster board? You know, definitely not Chippendale, sir. All right, so we're short right now in futures. We are shorting this. We're up about 15 bucks. We got a nice little follow through. We're up 20 bucks. I'm trying to build up a cushion now first. Now I could add to this. I'll add a little bit to it. All right, so we're in 20 shares. All right, so we just took most of that off. We're still green on the rest. All right, we're just gonna get out the rest. So we just made about $70, I think, just now, $70. Like, we broke down a lot, so I figured I might as well take some profit off there, right? We still got an hour left, team, an hour left. Hey, hit that like button. Have we broken 100 likes? I'm not sure yet. Hold on. And we're trying to trade a little bit here, team, so bear with me. Okay, so we are up $50. So we only made about 50 bucks, and that's all right. Shout out to Chart Prime. They gave us that sell signal. How many likes do we have? No, I haven't really tried the 151 that much. Corey. All right, we got over 100 likes. Cool. I don't know if anything's doing anything here, team. All right, so again, NASDAQ's starting to flush here. We can look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is all the way up to 476. NVIDIA is really what drugged the market up yesterday. And again, PPI is expected today at 0.1%. Year over year is expected at 1%. Yeah, please stop spamming. So we got a little cushion here. All right, so we just made another 25 bucks. We are up $75 on the NASDAQ. Again, trying to build up this cushion first. You're like a radio for traders? Right, we try. Bro, where are you from? I'm attending your live stream first time. I am from Louisiana, sir. But I'm in Houston, Texas right now. Yeah, how good. John, do you think Bitcoin will crash soon? I think it really depends on whether the spot ETF gets approved or not. You know, the spot ETF is going to be the make it or break it thing for Bitcoin in general right now. Bitcoin has been pushing up a lot. It's all the way up to the 40,000 level. You know, and so it's already up to the 40K level. So again, whether this happens is going to really depend on what happens regarding the spot ETF approval. I've said this once, I'll say it again. A lot of people are already baked into the spot ETF getting approved. And so if it does not get approved, Bitcoin is going to crash, in my opinion. Bitcoin is going to absolutely tank if the spot Bitcoin ETF does not get approved. Again, the deadline, one of the deadlines is January. All right, so one of the deadlines is January 10th. So again, big if, and I hope it does. I truly hope it does, but like, we'll see. All right, so we're scalping a little bit more. We just made a little bit more from futures here. Now we are up about $140. Yeah, the Bitcoin halving is an interesting spot of it too. Hey, slap that like button, team. Will Nvidia get back to 500? It's trying to. This guy has no idea he shorted NASDAQ during CPI news yesterday. Here's the NASDAQ. I did short it. And I mean, look what it did. I made like, look. I did short it yesterday. But I mean, look. Okay, so here's yesterday's gains, right? Here's today's. Today's we are up 140 bucks. Here's yesterday. We did short it. And you know why? It's because technically CPI data came in slightly worse than expected, right? Yesterday we made like $1,100 or so, a little bit under 1,100, but still, we did short it. I mean, look at the market. And again, I'm going to tell you guys this once, I'll tell you guys again. It's something I'm a real believer in, right? There is something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. If you don't know what that is, it means the people who act like they know the most typically know the least. Right? And so what I mean by that is typically the people that you see shaming other people, and acting like nobody else knows what they're talking about except for me, Usually those are the people that know the least in trading. Typically the other truth is that usually people who have to go around shaming other people for their trading usually are the worst traders, right? Like profitable traders just don't do that very much. The other pet peeve of mine is definitive statements. So you'll get people here a lot of the time being like, the market's gonna crash. The markets are gonna crash. You're gonna crash. The market's gonna crash. Like all this different stuff. Anything super definitively short term, like anybody that acts like they know exactly what's gonna happen short term has no idea what they're talking about. They typically just don't have enough experience to understand variance and why nobody knows exactly. We might bet correctly. We might predict it correctly, but it's never a for sure thing, and you always have to have that level of, understanding regarding probabilities there. Dunning-Kruger effect, the less experience and knowledge you have in a field, the higher your confidence level. Exactly. That's exactly right. Don't entertain comments like that. It kind of makes the stream more fun to talk about. Like, again, especially if I could just kind of, like, look, here's CPI yesterday. After CPI, I told people that I thought the market would pull back a little bit here. And that's exactly what we did. We pulled back all the way until like 9:45 yesterday. And yeah, we bounced back afterwards. But again, if you look at my actual P&L on the account I was trading at that point in time, we ended up making like 1,100 and then walked away. So when I make those type of bets, it's never like long term. Long term, the market's gonna go up. Like long term. Short term is where it gets a little bit like where you could predict whatever. But yeah, long term markets are gonna go up. Freddy Krueger effect, the GOAT. Salty dogs are just usually sitting on big bags of losses. Yeah, 100%. Market actually bounced up a little bit now. Yeah, you can't trade options themselves in futures or with a prop account, but you can trade futures contracts, which are, again, farmers used to grow crops, and the price would fluctuate by the time it came to yield the crops where it wasn't profitable. So they started selling contracts on these crops that they called futures, locking in the price of commodities ahead of time, and they would sell it to speculative investors. We just got out a little bit more. They called them futures. Eventually that futures It just made a little bit more. Eventually that futures type of contract evolved to where you can now day trade the S&P, you can day trade the NASDAQ, you can, and it's very similar to day trading stocks. Like the sizing implications are different because it's contract based, and every contract has a different sizing per tick, right? So every tick up or down in the NASDAQ, I think it's $5. On the E-mini, on the S&P E-mini, it's $12.50. And some move faster than others. Like the NASDAQ moves really quickly, so one contract in the NASDAQ will move very, very fast, profit and loss wise. But aside from that, it's very similar to day trading stocks. Like I can buy market, sell market, bid, ask, get in on that type of stuff. And aside from that, it's basically like day trading the Q. But there's no PDT rule, right? So I can day trade short. It's not like options trading at all, right? It's not like options trading at all. In that options trading, there's like the Greeks and all these little things that have to be correct for you to make money. Futures trading is much less strict in that regard. Like it's more similar to day trading stocks. And again, we got out another trade. We haven't had any losses on this account yet. We are currently up about 230 or so. So we'll take it. Green is good. We got a nice little cushion heading into the day at least. Do you believe that the closer we get to all-time highs, the market starts acting like a magnet? Yes, that's something that I've said for years, that highs can attract stocks like magnets, but long-term highs are a little bit different in all honesty. Short-term, like highs and lows of the day, act like magnets to a certain extent. On a long-term chart, it doesn't necessarily have to move like that, though. Long-term charts are much less rigid in that way in terms of their movement. Like, we can go up close to it and just never touch it and do whatever. But yeah, point is, I don't think just because we're getting close to highs, we have to hit highs. Although I think the probabilities probably show something. Like, I think we'll probably keep pushing up, but who knows? Like, I really have no idea what's going to happen. I'm just kind of guessing, as is anybody else. I have no idea, Matt, whether you should buy or sell the NASDAQ 100. No idea. Do brokers chase stops? Market makers do. All right, guys, we still got 50 minutes. We got about 500 people here already. If you haven't already, guys, again, slap that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Bro, I had some weird freaking dreams, dude. What do y'all think of Shohei Ohtani's deferring $680 million of his $700 million contract until 2034 to 2043? I think Shohei Ohtani doesn't understand the stock market and bonds. I truly think he doesn't understand the stock market and bonds. This is one of the worst decisions Shohei could ever make. It seems smart. It's really a bad decision, though. You want me to show you why it's a bad decision? All right, I'll show you why Shohei Ohtani's deferment of his contract money until 2034, so 10 years. All right, so again, right now bonds pay out 4.2%. So what this means is that every year you're going to make 4.2% on your money on whatever you invest in bonds, right? Say Shohei put instead of doing this, right? Say Shohei took half of the contract, right? Say he took, instead of 700 million, he took 350 million, right? So on that 350 million, Shohei would make in bond payments 4.2% a year. All right, and this is guaranteed by the U.S. government. It is guaranteed by the U.S. government, right? So Shohei would make 0.0. What is it? 4.3%. I always get the databases wrong. Yeah, I'm a little bit off. It would be 15 million he would make roughly every year, I think. Right? Let me do this percentage-wise. Again, I always get these percentages wrong, just because I know I'm missing a zero. What is 4.2% of 350 million? I think this is right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No, we got an extra 0. Oh. Okay. So this is going to be roughly $15 million a year he would make off of that contract. So yeah, that number was right. It's roughly $15 million a year. I wanted to be sure just so I don't look dumb. So Shohei's going to make roughly $15 million a year in bond payments if you put just half of that contract up in bonds, right? So we do that times 10. So he is going to make he could make $150 million just in bond payments, right? And say he diversified into the S&P 500 and the S&P 500 gave him 10%. He's going to make roughly twice this much in the market, in the stock market, by investing that money over a 10-year period. And so the team he is on right now is hoping Shohei takes this trade. They are hoping Shohei defers his payment and lets them sit on this much cash for a decade, because they're going to do this exact thing. The Dodgers are going to take this money and they're going to do exactly what I just did. They're going to stick it in the S&P 500. They're going to stick it in bonds. They're going to diversify into an investment portfolio, and that investment portfolio is probably at least going to make 6% a year, is my guess, right? 6% a year. And so again, you take that, and again, they're deferring $680 million. Right? So say he makes 6% a year. All right, so let's do the math for 6% a year in this for 10 years. Oh, wait, hold on. 680 million times 1.06, right? That's 1 year. You're going to have 720 million. 2 years, you're going to have 764 million. 3 years, you're going to have 809 million. 4 years, you're going to have 858 million. 5 years, you're going to have 909 million. 10 years, you're going to have basically $1 billion, right? And so you are going to save so much money if you pay Shohei in 10 years versus today. And that's what Shohei is missing out on this. This is another reason why if you get paid, if you win the lottery is hoping you're dumb enough to take the monthly installments, right? They're hoping you're dumb enough to defer payment over your lifetime, because they're going to do this exact same thing, which they're going to take the money, they're going to diversify it into an investment portfolio, probably at least make a 6 to 7% return every year, and they are going to make everything back. It's going to be free money. It's going to be free money. And so again, that's where Shohei's mistake is, guys. That is where Shohei's mistake is that he doesn't understand investing long term. And this is why the rich stay rich, is because people don't understand this, right? Somebody could say, hey, do you want 5 million today or 8 million in 10 years? You take the 5 million today, please, right now. It could be double that. You could say, hey, do you want 5 million today or 10 million in 10 years? Take the 5 million today easy. You win the lottery. You want the lump sum now of 50 million, or do you want to hold it and get 100 million for the rest of your life? Take the 50 million now. All right, stick it in an investment portfolio. Within 10 years, you're going to double whatever it is, and you're going to make it back, and it's going to be guaranteed. Again, they're hoping people are dumb enough to take the lump, or to take the monthly payments. Yeah, I think that's probably it as well. I understand what he's doing, but what is your view on gold, please? I like gold long term, but I have no idea what it's going to do. I'm a big believer in gold, but gold has 7x'd over the last 23 years. And so gold has 7x'd its value over the last 23 years. And so what does that mean? That means there's a couple things. Number one, gold's one of the best. You hear the older generations talk about gold. I love gold, bro. Gold has 7x'd. It's been one of the best performing investment, inflation hedges over the last 25 years. And so in that regard, I like gold. I think long term, it's fine. Short term, it could be extended. That's the only thing. Short term, it could be extended. But maybe it's not, and maybe it just keeps on rising. I hope it does. Precious metals have done well, too. I appreciate the donation. I'm not sure how much that is, but hey, thank you for the dono. Appreciate it. Also, shout out to King Moss. We also have another big donation by my guy, G. Thanks so much for the $20, brother. Hey, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate all the donos, man. I'm just catching up. I did my Shohei Ohtani rant. Thank you, D. G. Thanks so much. King, can you go over to cost stock and AMD? You mean Costco? The real question with stuff like Costco is this. All right, so I think Costco is going to be fine long term, number one. I'm going to put that out there. I think Costco is going to be fine long term no matter what. Again, I'm going to preface this with I have no idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about everything I say. All right. Again, I might be wildly wrong about anything and everything I say. Don't sue me, not an investment professional. But with that said, though, okay, there's a couple good things and bad things about Costco. Number one, Costco is a big company. It's backed by which one's the parent company of Costco? I always get this mixed up. Okay, so I guess Costco is its own standalone company, which I think makes it a little bit, more vulnerable being a standalone company, kind of like Sam's Club and Walmart, but still, Costco's fine. And again, Costco makes a lot of money. Costco is recession-proof, right? And Costco, long-term, again, I talked about this with like Target and Walmart, beautiful long-term trends, really solid long-term trends, very healthy company, obviously. And so I think Costco is probably going to be fine long-term as well. When we talk about really long-term, though, meaning like 10 plus years into the future, the vulnerabilities that I see for companies like this is that technology is going to become so freaking efficient within 10 years that companies like this are going to have to evolve with it. And there's the question mark in terms of whether companies like this are going to evolve with it. What do I mean by technological growth? What I mean is that over time, one of the very obvious future things is going to be mail order groceries, right? People are going to get their groceries shipped to them probably through drones, through delivery, through stuff like that. I don't think people are going to continue to shop in the store, especially for bulk things like at Costco. I think over time, just like we've seen in a lot of other brick and mortar sectors, that over time, it's just going to get delivered. And so if Costco can evolve with that and get on the forefront of that, great. If they don't, that's where the vulnerabilities lie. But Costco, very strong, healthy company, in my opinion, looks good. Again, I don't know what it's going to do short term. And when I say short term, I mean like less than a year or two. But long term, I like it. AMD, very strong company. AMD is actually what sparked this latest bull run. AMD released their earnings. We streamed their earnings here. And this actually reversed. So the market had been in like a pretty decent term, bearish trend for months from like July to October. I guess never mind. This is a little bit long term, so I'm sorry. This is the one I'm talking about. So yeah, market had been on kind of pretty bearish trend from like April to October. AMD is actually what reversed that trend. It came out with earnings here and ripped up like 40% from the earnings report. AI hype, microchips, AI. Those are the big hyped up things right now, and AMD is kind of on the forefront. AMD, Nvidia. Now, the question is AMD extended. What's the PE ratio currently for AMD here? Let me see. And again, I really don't know. I don't know whether it's extended or not. I like AMD as a company itself. The PE ratio on AMD, I think, is really freaking high, though, right? PE ratio on AMD is... This can't be right. It says 1.3K on Benzinga, but that can't be right. Let me just calculate it myself. All right, so the PE ratio on AMD, is all right, so here it is. So the PE ratio, let's calculate it myself. All right, so AMD, 70 cents was the last one, plus 58 cents, plus 60 cents, plus 69 cents. All right, so here's the yearly EPS is about $2.57. We take the current price, which we're going to call 138, divided by $2.57, and that gives us a PE ratio of about 54. We're going to round up. 54 PE ratio. Not terrible, but not good either, right? It's on the higher end of normal, or I would say the higher end of today's normal. Good PE ratio is like 15, 20, 25. And so it's basically double what's considered good, but it's also not as high as like they're saying. They're saying it's like 1.3K. I don't know what Nvidia's PE ratio is, but yeah, so a PE ratio around 50. Right now, it's not the end of the world. It's not like incredibly extended, but there also could be some extension arguments for it as well. Sorry, catch it back up on the chat. Yeah, I used to trade AMD a lot. PPI's at 830. Dow Jones. Yeah, I know there's a one-liner for compound interest. If I could put parentheses on this calculator, it would be a lot easier because I could just do the equation would be 1.06. Yeah, there's an equation for it for sure. I know in programming I could do a for each loop and loop that really easily, but hey, but yeah, thanks so much for the donation. Again, I still don't know how much the first number was in terms of 40. I don't know how much that is. 40 something. Yeah, you know, I talked about this before, Pawn, like you banning that guy. I talked about this before, but nobody is a bigger hater. All right, nobody's a bigger hater than a failed YouTuber, bro. Like one thing that you'll see a lot of the time, you'll see the people hating in the chat. You go look at their channels; they're almost always people who have tried to start a YouTube channel and failed at it. Right, every single freaking one. It's bizarre how true that is, right? But what it is like insecurity, insecurity. Nobody that's secure to themselves goes and shames a bunch of people in a chat room called beginner trading, you know? Hey, today we got the FOMC meeting. I'm ready for it, guys. I'm ready for it. We got 37 minutes. Yeah, we've already built the cushion. Here, sorry, catching back up on chat. You only need the X and Y buttons. Yeah, we need variables, but... D-Trader, that's one right there. 1 plus point, yeah. But that was about Home Depot. I'm in Home Depot right now. I've been riding it up though for a while now. I've literally got 5 shares left of Home Depot in a much larger position. And I am up just in this 5 shares at 204. My average price in Home Depot is 292s. And so we've been holding Home Depot for a minute. Taking most of the profit off of it. Still sitting on a little bit though. Deer? Yeah. I don't know enough about Deer to really say. All right, guys. Hey, we got 600 people here. Tesla. Yeah, Tesla all the way down. Tesla's very weak right now, too. Tesla all the way down to 205 or 234s. All right, guys, hit that subscribe button here. Hit the like button as well. We're getting closer and closer. All All right, Tesla at 235s almost. It is bouncing back some after dipping this morning. Yeah, 0.1% is what's expected, guys. 0.1% is what's expected for PPI. We built up a little bit of a cushion here today, though. Frank Sinatra would have been 108 today or yesterday. Mark Zuckerberg's plain-looking gray T-shirt cost $400 each. Their designer brand, Brunelli Cucinelli. Bro, why buy a gray shirt for $400, bro? Yeah, there used to be this kid that went to school with me, right? And maybe his family just had money like that, bro. But this kid used to wear these normal-looking pants. But he would brag about them being designer. In hindsight, you know, but like, why buy regular looking clothes that's designer? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Unless you've got, I mean, if you're Mark Z, I understand the point because you're freaking Mark Zuckerberg, right? You're not going to go buy a Walmart brand. Like, you're Mark Zuckerberg. You could literally spend that every day and not even lose sleep over it. On a t-shirt, I mean. Do you have a risk-reward ratio? I usually go with 1-to-1 when I'm scalping. So I usually look for like 1-to-1 reward to risk. Bitcoin's still trying to push up though. Q and the SPY are both right around the 200 EMA and the volume weighted average price. Yeah, so Friday is quad witching day. It's actually not. Quad witching day is a day of historical volatility. The reason there's historical volatility on quad witching day is because all 4 major contract types expire same day. So basically what I mean is that stock options, index options, stock futures, index futures are set to expire on Friday. Although there's no such thing as stock futures anymore. So it's basically triple witching day instead of quad witching day, but they still call it quad witching day anyway. Put this up on screen so people can see. You're actually going to be able to watch the PPI report here. We still got 30 plus minutes here, guys. 30 plus minutes until this report drops. Yeah, but what's the big difference though? 20 and 100. I mean, I've never spent $100 on a t-shirt ever in my life. I just couldn't imagine spending $100 on a t-shirt. If I'm single, unless the t-shirt got me laid, I wasn't buying it, you know? I was always the type of person when I was single where it's like, bro, if girls liked pink bunny suits, you know, you dress up in pink bunny suits, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. Maybe they like a Christmas Story movie, you know, regardless of the reason, you just do it, you know. And that was always the thing. All right, so the SEC is holding a meeting with BOK to discuss its spot Bitcoin ETF, but how many meetings have they held, though? Yeah, man. Again, people have to understand. There's a reason. Again, I talked about this earlier, but if you want to know how I was able to basically tell people that we didn't have to crash and that the market probably was not going to drop like this and not going to crash a year ago, and then we put in one of the best years we've ever had stock market wise. If you want to know how I was on the forefront of that, and I really was, right? I was, again, at the time, when the SPY was down here, people can say whatever they want about me. They can say I'm a beginner, I don't know what I'm talking about. I've probably been trading longer than they was. At the time, again, you can ask anybody that's been here for a long time. Everybody was bearish right here. Literally everybody was bearish back then, except for me. I was the only person telling people, hey, look, I don't think we have to crash. Like, I think the market could push up. Market's going to move up long term. I've been saying the same thing, right? And again, if you want to know why you get so many people predicting bearish stuff in these moments, is because, number one, there's two biases that influencers on YouTube have, right? The first one is that predicting crashes gets more views, right? And for me, it's the same thing, right? Like, in the middle of hot inflation and market corrections, like, we got so many views here, it was unbelievable, right? Like, we got a lot of views because people watch fires, I guess is the easiest way to put it. But you got so many influencers predicting crashes here. They're saying this time is different, the market's gonna crash. You know, you go back and look at their history at this period of time, a lot of people were calling for a crash. What happens is, like, they get more views if they do, right? The other part is, like, a lot of them are day traders, right? So if you come from day trading, which is a lot of these guys come from day trading. Believe me, a lot of these guys come from day trading. If you come from day trading, you're naturally going to be a little bit more pessimistic, because typically day traders don't prefer to hold things long term, and they don't really understand the long-term edge in markets like that. The long-term edge is one of the most obvious edges in markets, of course, but a lot of day traders don't understand that. And so what you get is you get a lot of day trading influencers that all of a sudden start to kind of piggyback off of the big economic streamers like me, because they understand that it gets views and it gets attention, right? But they don't really understand the economy like that or markets like that. They don't really understand the true long-term edge is up in markets, right? And so what they start doing is they start kind of telling all their followers that the market's going to be some, like, crash. Maybe they've watched The Big Short. Maybe they've watched Margin Call a lot. Like, that's where it comes from. That's why you had so many influencers telling everybody the market was about to crash right here. And then when it didn't crash over the last year, what have they been screaming? They've been screaming manipulation. This is a nonsensical market. The market doesn't make sense. You know, manipulation. The reality of it is, again, the argument I gave at the time for being like that, again, if you guys remember back here, you know, the argument I told people was this. I said, look, we've already dropped for a year. We've already dropped for a year. The market's not going to continue down forever. The long-term direction of the market is up, and I think we're extended on the downside now. I'm bullish. And then, of course, what happened is that the market ripped up. That's how I was able to basically, like, bet on that. And again, I didn't know for sure, but anybody that's been watching the stream long enough knows that this is something that we talked about. And so I guess the overarching point I'm trying to make is don't trust YouTubers. Like, don't trust day trading YouTubers on long-term directions, including me. Tell me to shut up. Tell me I'm dumb, you know. I'm in some crypto. What's up, Taylor? No, this is not a recording, sir. I mean, this is a recording. I'm an AI bot generated. And, you know, I just predicted you were going to ask me that and then responded at the appropriate time, because AI is just getting really, really good. All right, so don't trust it. I might be a secret bot, you know. Top 3 bots in the world, but still. All right. And I know I probably sound like a broken record, but the points I repeat often are points that I really want to ingrain into you guys, so you guys don't get tricked. You know. John is a Fed. Hey, top 3 Feds in the world. 10-year moving higher. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, the people that end up calling names or getting emotional are usually the ones that told you the market was going to crash a year ago, and now they're just kind of mad about it. Top G. Yeah, data will be here, broadcasted here, of course, like it always is. CIA spy. Back when the AMC disaster happened, right? What happened, guys? Like, this is how it happened. So, this is actually where my channel got kind of big, right? I gotta put my spy things up. Okay, that looks too much like a... Yeah, we're gonna take that off. No, so back when the AMC stuff happened, or GameStop. So when GameStop started making its historic squeeze, this is really where my channel started to grow fast, right? So like we were streaming at the time and we were getting like hundreds of people. But when GameStop happened, we started getting thousands of people. And so we had the whole GameStop community, or a lot of the GameStop community watching my stream. We had like 4,000 people here watching it. When the GameStop run happened, right? And GameStop ended up flying up. When it got up to 550s, right? When it got up to 550s, I started to get really nervous about longs. And I started telling people, I said, hey, look, I'm going to take a little bit of my profit here. I'm going to take a little bit of it off, right? Just me taking profit at those super high levels where in hindsight, it was the right move. It never got that high again, including to this day. Never got that high again at 550s, right? Just me telling people I was taking some profit in GameStop triggered the entire community to turn on me and my channel. They started telling everybody I was a hedge fund spy, that I was a secret spy for the hedge funds who basically started doing this just to keep GameStop down. They started shaming anybody that sold, and like it just turned real toxic real quick. But yeah, top 3 hedge fund spies in the world is what I'm trying to say. I have no idea what the market's going to do. Are you a flat earther? Of course not. The argument for a flat earth is very simple. Against flat earth, I should say. The argument against flat earth is very simple. Okay, so they say the earth is flat. If the earth is flat, why are all the other planets spheres? Right? Why are all the other planets in sphere shapes? Right? Why is the moon in a sphere shape? Right? And they're going to say, oh, well, the moon is not real. Then why is it there to begin with? You know? Like, again, there's just a lot of question marks regarding it. Like, listen, if you think that society could really keep up a lie that big for this long, you know, I mean, listen, you know, how us in the South say, bless your heart, you know? Bitcoin started to push up. It's at 41.6K. CGI, bro. Yeah, in the 70s. Like, bro, this is in the 70s. Did y'all see movies from the 70s? The CGI was not that good. Sure to pop outside. Is that a golf cap? Bro, this is an LSU cap. Look, this is LSU Tigers. No, it's not a golf cap, LSU cap. Yeah, I mean, again, it's all love, guys. It's all love here. Y'all can believe whatever you want to believe. It's all good. What I will tell you guys is this, is that people have to understand what ends up getting people involved, right? Like, they feel like they're part of a community, right? If you saw the Flat Earth documentary, like, bro, there's this whole economy around Flat Earth. There's this big economy around Flat Earth. Like, you got all these members, and they're selling these Flat Earth globes, and, like, they've got such good friendships that they've developed around all these communities. That's what makes people desperate to believe it, right? It's the same thing with AMC and GameStop, right? They feel all warm and fuzzy and part of a community, and some people desperately crave that, and those are the people that are the most primed to manipulate. Same thing here. I promise you this. You could take a lot of these flat earthers and literally fly them up and show them that the earth is a sphere, and a lot of them still would refuse to believe it because it would mean that they would have to give up on the relationships and the community that they've formed that makes them feel all warm and fuzzy. And at this point in time, that's the most important thing to them. You know, same reason with AMC GameStop community. Like, a lot of them just, that's why you see conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory regarding AMC and GameStop, because they refuse to let up with the truth. They refuse to look at the truth objectively because it's confirmation biased, you know. Same thing with flat earthers, right? Like, they just want to be part of that community, you know what I mean? I think deep down a lot of them know, but yeah, so let me see some news. All right, hey guys, we got 20 minutes. We got about 1,000 people here. Sorry, I'm ranting about flat earth today. The market's flat, bro. The market is so sideways, the Q is neutral. Like, look, it just goes up and down. That's literally been the price action so far today. It's boring. So I'm just sitting here ranting about flat earth, about AMC, GameStop. John used to be an ape. I mean, bro, the GameStop community turned on me as soon as I took profit. And again, doesn't matter what it is. If you're up huge percentages in anything, you probably should take half of it off, right? You could sit on the other half and let that work as long as you want, but you probably should take half of it off. People trying to shame people for selling and locking in profits, you know, don't have other people's best interest at heart, you know? And so I like GameStop. I'm in AMC and GameStop, I believe, right now. Yeah, I'm in both. But the problem is, I think a lot of the community's toxic, man. Again, if you're shaming somebody for just wanting to sell something or holding something, like, it shouldn't matter that much. Healthy companies don't need to shame people for selling. Healthy companies don't need to make you feel all warm and fuzzy to talk you into staying in the community. You know what I mean? Like, you just buy Apple because Apple's strong. And I think that's the main difference. All right, guys. Hey, we got 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Do you think we have a sell-off? The question is, do we get a Santa rally? We're in the last 2 weeks of... We're getting close to the last 2 weeks of December. Yeah, Powell this evening. Again, we're going to stream that as well. Guys, we're going to throw it in sub-only mode now that we speak about this. So we're going to throw it in sub-only mode. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. We do this live every weekday for free right here. And so if you have not subscribed... Again, everything we do here is free. We don't sell a course. We don't sell a service. We might critique flat earthers, but we don't charge for any content whatsoever. Everything we put out there is free. We don't claim to be experts. I don't even act like I'm a good trader. I just give people free market data quickly. The reason we get thousands of people tuning in for these big streams is because we cover the data very fast. And so if you want a one-stop shop where you're going to be able to learn about the economic reports that show up every day, we stream FOMC meetings, Powell interviews, and speeches. We stream all the big earnings reports in their entirety. Like, we stream the entire meeting, the full thing. You'll be able to watch it all live. You won't have to go anywhere else. Hit the subscribe button. Do it now. I think we broke 21,000 subs, I think. Or at least we're pretty close to it. Oh, we need 30 subs here, guys. 30 subs. Come on now, man. Y'all can do better than this. 30 subscribers. Powell will say inflation is still elevated. They're on... he'll say their goal is to hit 2% inflation over time, and that they're very rigid in that goal. And that the question is, what does he say about the labor market? Lately in the FOMC statements, the labor market has been the big halting thing towards the economy. Is the labor market's been too strong. And I guess the logic for the Fed is that more people working means more people spending, and right now with inflation problems, more spending is bad, less spending is good, right? So in that regard, less people working is better because it means less spending. I think that's the Fed's logic, and that's what the logic has really been for the last couple of months, and really the last year plus, I would say, in which most of the time over the last year, the market has reacted negatively to higher payroll numbers. So higher payroll numbers has signaled weakness in markets and vice versa. But it's not always the same, and it's certainly not a definitive thing. So yeah, I'm looking at Bitcoin pop up. Bitcoin at 41,500, a little bit over that now, actually. Yeah, we're not going to raise rates tomorrow. Or we're not going to raise rates today. It's just incredibly unlikely. The Fed's not going to shock the market and cause a dump. I mean, they could, I guess. It's just not super likely. They could, though. I mean, anything could happen. And if they do, bro, if they raise rates, I'm going to have to eat my words. All right, we still got about 1,000 people here. Yeah, I did a poll this morning already. Let's see what the poll said. All right, so 67% of people think we're going to come in higher than expected for the PPI report. Looking at our actual YouTube poll, 60% out of about 900 votes said higher, 40% said lower. The real overarching question of the week is going to be who's going to win, Colby or Leon? Colby or Leon, guys. I got to go with my guy Leon. I hope Leon wins at least. The other question is Ferguson or Patty Pimblett? Ian Gary or Vincent Luque? Bro, it's a good card, dude. I'm excited for this card. Ferguson, yeah. Your thoughts on today's data? I don't know. PPI is usually a little bit less predictable, in my opinion. PPI is hard to predict. PPI comes in higher, lower. Market will do whatever it wants. It's not as easy as like CPI, where higher is worse, lower is better, I would say. We most definitely will pause. Yeah, they raised right here at the holidays. I mean, the rate hikes are not going to do anything short term. The rate hikes take about a year to affect anything. But they're going to cause pessimism. So, yeah, unlikely they raise rates tomorrow. I mean, they could. Or today, but they could. Yeah, Ferguson's looked a little chinny lately. You know, his chin's gone. He needs to just retire. US 30 up or down. US 30 is the Dow, right? I always forget about what the US 30 is. I think the US 30 is the Dow. US 100 is the NASDAQ, if I remember correctly. Right? How do you gauge hawkish or dovishness from 2 to 3 p.m.? You think about what Powell says, right? What Powell says, like the way you gauge all of this stuff. All right, if you want to know how to gauge Powell's comments, Powell's going to come out, and he's almost certainly going to pause, right? Like that decision is not going to be a shock. He's almost certainly going to pause, right? What's going to matter more is what Powell says during the interview session. Now, things that you want to listen to, kind of buzzwords. One of the main ones is rate expectations. Like, is the Fed going to cut rates anytime soon? If they decide to cut rates sooner, that's going to trigger more optimism, most likely at least, because that signals less inflation problems, and that might make the market go up. What does inflation look like currently? If Powell says inflation's getting better, you know, that could make the market go up. What the monetary policy looks like moving forward into next year. You know, last time a lot of people are talking about a potential rate cut in May. Is he going to improve on that rate cut prediction? Like, basically, is he going to bring that up a little bit and maybe start cutting rates earlier? And what does that do to the market? That's what you want to pay attention to. Recession is certainly a buzzword that you want to pay attention to. Like, does Powell think that we're going to hit a recession? And what does that look like and mean? So forth and so on, right? Like, those are all things that you want to watch and pay attention to. Well, we're not going to be cutting rates anytime soon, almost certainly. And again, we'll see what PPI does for all of this stuff. Well, the labor market is another thing that you want to watch. Speaking of all that, right? Like, one of Powell's, what he said has been some of the biggest obstacles to inflation hitting its 2% target is the labor market. He's basically said the labor market is too resilient. That's what he said recently, is that the labor market's too strong. And then if we want to hit our 2% inflation goal over time, the labor market needs to cool, which it kind of has over the last week or two. The labor market's cooled a little bit, and so we'll see. Jobless claims tomorrow is another relevant thing for all this stuff, but yeah. Did they really, comma? Bitcoin back up to 41.6K. Yeah, housing has been a struggle. I'm really skeptical in housing too. We do see the mortgage rate going down though. So we see the MBA 30-year mortgage rate dipping down. So it came in at 7.07% today, and that's lower than it was last week. And it's been dipping for weeks in a row now, which is a positive, optimistic sign, of course. Yeah, I see some scammer on Twitter saying on December 22nd, our on-chain draw will send $1 million USDC to one lucky entrant. We're just days away. I said, be careful. It could be a scam. Just make sure if you win, they don't ask you for a fee to get your money out. You know what I mean? That's typically what they do. They'll be like, yeah, you won $1 million. One of the ways they really take advantage of people online is that they tell them they won a bunch of money. They'll be like, yeah, our investment analyst earned you 500%. We turned your account balance is now $500,000. From $1,000, your account balance is now $500K. All you got to do is send me $20K to withdraw it. For taxes is what they'll say, right? And people are so desperate to win, like they're so desperate to get the money because they think they won, that they ignore logic and they send these random strangers on the internet thousands of dollars, and the scammers right off into the sunset with it. It's unfortunate, but people got to be smarter, man. Like, if you think, again, people just have to be smarter. Like, people let greed blind them, I think. Anyways, hey, we got 6 minutes here, guys. 6 minutes. Again, give me your last minute predictions. Expectations are 0.1%. I'm going to go with 0%. Is what I'm going to go with. Pure guess, though. I have no idea what's going to happen, but a pure guess. Is it normal to pay taxes with Amazon gift cards? Yeah, that's the worst one. Yeah, I've seen some catfish episodes where this old 60-year-old biker chick thought she was in a relationship with Johnny Depp and that he needed her to send him $300 in Amazon gift cards. You know what I mean? Because, listen. When you're Johnny Depp, apparently you can't be bothered to go buy those gift cards yourself. You need somebody to send them to you, apparently. Again, blinds people, man. It blinds people. All right, hey, guys. We got 1,300 people here. We still got 4 minutes left. Over 4 minutes. Be ready. Again, make sure you hit the live button next to the play button to make sure you're fully caught up on stream. You want your live button to look like this, team. All right. Hold on, let me fix this. Sorry. You want your live button to look like this. You want it to be red. You want your live button to be red. If your live button has a red dot next to it, it's caught up. You could also put it in fast forward mode. So if you put it at like 1.25 speed, it'll keep up with lag a little bit better. So you'll always be up to date with it. It's not a new thing. It's pretty old, Shepard. That's been around for a long time. Though the quality of products on there are terrible, and they'll usually promise the world and send you crap. All right, so again, over 1,000 votes, 60% think higher, 40% think lower. Will make market bullish? I have no idea. No, there's no 30-second stream delay. Fast. Every stream on YouTube has a delay, but it's like two seconds. Again, if you hit the live button next to the play button, if your live button looks red like this, then you don't have a delay. So again, you want to make sure your live button looks like this. Okay, your live button needs to be red. We have a red dot next to it. Q is very flat. I'm gonna put up gold. We got the Q. I'm gonna put up the SPY. I can put up gold as well. What symbols do you guys want on screen here ahead of this report? We got 3 minutes here, team. 3 minutes. We got 1,500 people here live. Gold, Bitcoin, gold. All right, we'll put gold up. All right, so we'll put gold up in the SPY. So the S&P 500 in gold. Or actually, I'm gonna put the Q up. I think people would prefer the Q. But here's gold on the right. It's under 2,000. Here's the Q on the left. It's at right around 399.60s, just under 400. Aerotime International. Dollar index. I'm going to put up gold. I'll probably watch the dollar index as well. "90-day fiance." I couldn't imagine being super wealthy and not signing a prenup with my spouse, right? Like, I couldn't imagine. The argument is always the craziest, right? Like, anybody that tries to talk you out of signing a prenup does not have your best interest at heart, right? And they could say, "Oh, but we're supposed to be there forever. We're supposed to be together forever." Then what does it matter whether we sign a prenup or not? You know what I mean? Like, they just want money. You gotta have more trust than us. Man. Get out of here, not me. Yeah. Bitcoin at 41.7. Right, always sign a prenup. If she loves you, she doesn't want your assets. 100%. All right, guys. Hey, here we go. 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. We got about 1,700 people here live. We'll probably have over 2,000 people here when this report drops. But get ready, guys. We are ready here. Countdown is on. It's the final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Hey, good luck, I see. Yeah, here we go. 10 seconds here, guys. 10 seconds. This timer is off. We actually have 10 seconds left. 5 seconds, actually. 3 seconds. And there's the report. Just now goes live. There's the report. Market bounced a lot. Let's see what PPI shows up as, team. There's the report live. PPI just showed up at 0%. I was right. Hey, you're welcome. 0% for PPI month to month. 0%. Core PPI came in at 2%, lower than the 2.2% expected. Core PPI month to month came in at 0 versus 0.2%, lower than expected universally for PPI, it looks like. But again, PPI is hard to gauge. I was actually correct about my bet, though. I said 0%, and we showed up at 0%. Year over year came in at 0.9% versus 1% expected. Bitcoin rising, gold shooting up to 2,000. The Q was up to almost $400, but we showed up at 0% for PPI today, guys. 0% for PPI. So 0% better than expected versus 0.1% expected. PPI showed up at 0% versus 0.1% expected. We'll put this up on screen. Everything basically lower than expected here. 0% versus 0.1% expected. Everything's pushing up. Core came in better than expected as well. 0% versus 0.1% expected. It's pretty good. Again, PPI is always kind of a curveball, though, because we don't really know what's going to happen here with it. We really don't. Like, we don't know how the market's going to respond to it. But it's typically good, I would say. Like, lower than expected for inflation data is usually pretty good. All right, core PPI month to month came in at 0% as well. We'll put this up on screen as well. But yeah, so better than expected. Put that up on screen as well. But yeah, there's core PPI month to month, 0% versus 0.2%. Base came in at 0.1%. Markets are up. Gold is pushing up too. Hey, we'll see if it continues. Still making some moves. And again, guys, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. If you want to day trade, you can see these funded account programs are the single best way to learn day trading. And if you don't have that much equity, get exposure to day trading with limited risk. Okay, these funded account programs, what they do is they give you a demo in futures and they test your skill. And if you can pass the test, they fund you. And so if you lose the test, you're only out what you paid for. The base one's $49. They give you a demo of 50K. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit on that demo without losing over 2K and following the rest of their rules, they fund you $50,000 with a 90% split. So if you make 10K once you're funded, you keep 9 of that. So you basically keep very similar to putting up the money up yourself split. But if you lose, you're only out $49. And in the futures market, there's no PDT rule. You can day trade short. I can buy market, buy bid, sell the ask, just like stocks. You can see this is basically trading the Q right here. This is basically trading the Q. You can see if I zoom in, it's the same price action. Big green candle, red, green. Big green candle, red, green. Same price action. Just no PDT rule on this right side. I can day trade short it. I can buy market, sell market, all that good stuff. And we'll probably get ready to day trade this as well. And again, if you get funded, great. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. You're going to lose much less than putting up the money up yourself and risking that. When I first started day trading, I lost thousands of dollars. I wish I would have had something like this in the beginning. And again, in the futures market, you could day trade the Q. You could day trade essentially the SPY and what's called the NASDAQ and the E-mini, S&P. You could day trade currencies, gold and silver. The patterns are very similar in these index funds versus blue chip companies. Very similar to blue chip company patterns. There's just no PDT rule. And so again, they are a sponsor of mine. I'm certainly biased in their favor because they pay me money. But again, I think it's genuinely useful for traders. Most day traders lose. And so you can either try to look cool on the internet or you can try something like this. There's the link. Check it out. All right, NASDAQ starting to turn a little bit, guys. And again, we will be day trading this if we get some good setups here. We will be day trading this if we get some good setups. Yeah, people that say whatever's a scam. Again, like in the end, it's a funded account program that costs $49. If you lose, you're only out $49. Like, you know how many day traders lose money? Like, almost all day traders lose. It doesn't matter whether they're on Top Step or whether they put the money up themselves. I couldn't imagine wanting to put the money up yourself just so you can lose. You know, this limits your risk. It teaches you how to trade under pressure. And it's just a good way to learn how to day trade, in my opinion. All right, so we are starting to break down. I will short this. Bitcoin's starting to turn as well. Bitcoin got up to almost 41.8 thousand. What does 0% PPI actually mean? It means that producer prices did not increase or decrease at all month to month. They stayed stable. They increased 0%. They didn't go up at all. Right, exactly. Those programs are good because if you cannot pass an evaluation, why would you use your own money? 100%. Right, 100%. Not the legit ones, Caleb, in my opinion. All right, so again, you can kind of see the NASDAQ bouncing back up a little bit. We're pretty sideways here. You can see the Q bouncing back up as well because, again, this NASDAQ E-mini is basically the Q. You can see it's the same price action. Big green, consolidation, dip, bounce. Big green, consolidation, dip, bounce. The liquidity is actually better in futures on the right side. Yeah, if you're good, they move you into a live account. Again, most day traders lose, right? So you're going to have a lot of people that take these challenges and lose and then scream and cry and blame the broker. A lot of day traders just are not introspective enough to be accountable for their own mistakes. And most day traders lose. Again, it doesn't matter whether you use something like this or whether you put the money up yourself. When I first started day trading, I lost thousands and thousands of dollars. I had $4,000 saved at the time, which was a lot of money to me. Carol was like, hey, John, don't day trade it. And I was like, no, financial freedom. Tim Sykes, financial freedom, guys. I'm going to turn this 4,000 into 50 by next week. Eventually, you realize that those guys are just trying to sell you courses, and most of the time you lose money. And so, I ended up losing the $4,000. Almost wanted to cry. In that regard, this is much more useful because, again, if you lose, you're out $49 for the base one, right? It's not the end of the world, but if you're good enough to pass it, you still get a 90% split anyway. They pay out millions in actual withdrawals every year. They fund thousands and thousands of traders every year. They've been around for over a decade. So Top Step's one of the legit ones. And people can say whatever they want, but again, they've been around for over a decade. Yeah, I'm funded in multiple accounts on there. Yeah, and again, I'm already up on the day. So again, we've made some money here. We're up 235, but this isn't big enough edge for me. This is too sideways. And so I just don't trust this. Part of me wants to short because I think it's a sideways neutral trend, but, John, 0% PPI doesn't mean recession? No. Recession has nothing to do with PPI. Recession has to, maybe shorting was a bad move, and luckily I didn't. Recession has nothing to do with PPI. Again, recession, again, just to give you guys some breakdown in economics. A recession is when you have two consecutive losing GDP quarters. Quarter to quarter, losing GDP quarter, losing GDP quarter. That is when we're technically considered a recession. Last GDP was very positive. We haven't had two consecutive losing GDP quarters in a while. Last time we had that was a few years ago, I believe. And so whether you wanted to consider that a recession is a different story. But yeah, we're definitely not there yet. PPI data is inflation data. So inflation over time. To understand the nature of the market, right? Inflation happens over time. Like if you sit on cash, your dollars are going to get devalued over time. You're going to lose money sitting on cash long term. Why? Because your dollars are valued less long term. The more you sit on cash, the more your dollars are devalued over time from inflation. So the inevitable thing is that inflation goes up over time. Inflation happens over time. So prices become more expensive over time. It's one of the reasons if you look at the 90s and you buy a house in the 90s, you're going to get a much better house for less in the 90s versus today. Why? Inflation. That's why. And so, yeah, inflation happens over time. And so the markets are typically going to go up over time. Like that's an inevitable thing. Markets are going to bounce over time. What PPI and yesterday's CPI report gauged is how much they're increasing month to month. Now, ideally, we want inflation to slow down. Ideally, we'd actually want it to go down. We want inflation to drop. But again, because inflation goes up over time, if we can just slow inflation's increase, which a pause month to month does mean that. Like a pause month to month means producer prices didn't increase at all month to month, which is a good sign, right? Yesterday, we had CPI in which CPI on consumer prices only increased 0.1% month to month, and in the previous month they didn't go up at all. And so slowing inflation is the goal. It's not necessarily stopping it, but slowing it. And so these percentages coming in at 0% today and yesterday only at 0.1% do show slowing inflation. It shows that the speed at which our dollars are getting devalued is decreasing over time, which is an optimistic thing, I think. And it's what the Fed wants. Of course, the Fed wants 2% over time. And who knows if we're going to hit that anytime soon. It'll probably be years. But still, that's kind of what this all means. I use Quant Tower. And again, we're still pretty flat. I haven't really traded too much, but... Did you get financial freedom eventually? I did. But it's certainly not freedom. Freedom is... I mean, I do well right now. But again, I do well telling people the truth, not claiming to be an expert, not acting like a guru, not charging anybody for content, and just kind of telling people the truth about things. And so I provide that service of just telling people the truth, reporting on economics, and teaching people economics more so. I don't want to be a day trading guru, you know. I day trade every day, but like I don't want a bunch of day traders like getting mad at me if I lose. You know what I mean? I would rather just tell people, yo, I'm not an expert. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Top 3 time chargers in the world. Hey, thanks. Yeah, definitely top 3. All right, but we're very sideways. So again, I'm not really into taking these big positions yet because we're too sideways and neutral right now. We're just not doing much. And so I'm sitting here waiting. We'll see if we get something good. We already got some profit. But again, at this point, you can kind of see we're very, very sideways here. We're just not moving much at all. I could buy this. I guess the trend would be an upward trend. I'm going to go ahead and buy this. And this is the futures market, right? So this is day trading futures. So I got one contract at the NASDAQ, which moves very, very quickly. Luckily, I'm already up $240, 230 something on the day. And so I can let it run a little bit. But, all right, so there we go. We're green. We're up $10, $15. I'd like a little bit more of a run up, please. And again, I definitely don't want anybody copying me. My strategy with these funded account programs is very simple, and you could probably use this type of strategy outside of Top Step and stocks if you want. But on Top Step, it's a great strategy. So if you want to get funded, this is the strategy I use. I build up a cushion on the day like I have right now. So I have a cushion of 230 or so on the day. Now, since I have that big cushion, I'm allowed to take larger risks, right? So I'm allowed to take more than one contract if I want because I've already got a big cushion on the day. And so, yeah, we're going to cut that and lose. So we ended up losing. We're still up 160. Now, we got to take larger risks when we can. And again, here's the cushion. Here's the profit on the day. But again, I can take larger risks today if I want because I already have that cushion. And then if I build up more cushion, say I go from $170 profit right now to $300, $400 profit, then I can take an even larger risk if I need to, right? And so I'm only allowed to take really large risks if I have a big cushion on the day. If I don't have a cushion on the day, I trade very small. That makes it so that if I have a day where I can't really build up a cushion, I'm usually trading small doing so. And so if I lose there, I might be down $100 or $200. It's not the end of the world. But my winning days, I can make 1,000. You know, so huge winning days sometimes and small losing days is the goal of that system. And when you're trying to get funded in these funded account programs, that's the right move in my opinion, is trading very small until you have a cushion. If you have a cushion, then you can take larger risks and swing and potentially get funded. If you take larger risks and lose, you're right back to break even. You know, you're right back in a much more comfortable spot there, and you don't have to worry so much about taking risks and having what ends up killing accounts, which is big drawdowns, right? Big drawdowns are what destroy accounts. If you trade it like this, using this type of system, you don't have to worry about that as much, you know? Hey, what's up, Relentless, my guy? Hey, top 3, bro. Top 3. Hope you're doing good, brother. How many accounts can you have with Top Step? I think you can have a bunch of. I think you can have a bunch of combine accounts. I think you can only have 3 funded accounts. I currently have 2. Actually, I am currently in the S&P day trading. We just scalped out of that. We're gonna go ahead and get out the rest there. So yeah, now we're up $300. And so again, using the same type of system here, we can now take larger risks in a safer, more effective way. Right? You can see my win-loss ratio today. If you guys see this right here, in this account specifically, right? My win-loss ratio is 10-1 today. So we're doing pretty good risk-reward wise today. Not risk-reward wise, win accuracy rate, we're doing pretty solid. We'll see if we keep it up, but we got a nice little cushion on the day. Hey. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to wake you up. All right. All right. Love you. What's the best account? JD, 50, 100, or 25? I mean, whatever you float your boat, brother. I don't know. Define best. You know what I mean? I like chocolate cake as the best cake, but some people are going to argue strawberry's better. You know what I mean? So it's very subjective. What is best is subjective. People that say the same thing, hey, what's the best platform? Depends on what you're trying to do. Same thing with accounts. Depends on what your bankroll is, I guess. All right, team. How do I create a simple strategy? The easiest strategies you could ever have are trend trading strategies. All right, so the easiest strategies you'll ever get in large caps and index funds like the Q or whatever are trend trading strategies. Strategies that go like this. All right, the most simple strategies are going to look like this. All right, that's the most simple. We'll give you a little bit better one here. That one is just a little bit too vague. But again, the most simple strategies kind of look like this, right? Where you can draw specific trends. That top line's kind of ugly here. Let me fix this here. They actually give me a trend line option. Never mind. All right, so the most simple strategies look like this. And it's as simple as connecting two different spots and then attacking that. It's as simple as it is. It's right. These are what I usually do with building my system. Okay, so I usually do something like this, where I build up my system first, specifically using scalping strategies, like you've kind of seen me do today. So I'll build up my system like this using scalping strategies. Once I have a system like this, I can take larger size with trend trades, right? So I can take longer term trend-based strategies, trying to find effective trends. Right now, we got a triple top on the NASDAQ. We might have a slightly upward trend here. But again, look at the top out here. We got a triple top. This, I mean, maybe it's a wedge. You could call that a wedge, maybe. I don't know what you want to call it. But that's what I see right now. FOMC is at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. The FOMC decision, the actual press conference is at 2:30. I love chocolate cake, bro. Don't you hate on chocolate cake? This is Quant Tower, the platform I'm using, Kimberly. Gold's still struggling, but are you comfortable saying what percentage of your income comes from trading versus this channel? I make so much more from this channel than I ever do trading, like without question. But again, like people will argue, like people will use that as like a reason to criticize me, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, I'll explain why. Is like, say I'm a mechanic, right? Like say I'm a car mechanic, an automotive mechanic, right? And say I start a forum, kind of like this, where I get 300,000 hits a month on that forum, right? Pretty quickly, from that forum alone, I'm gonna make much more than I ever would make as a car mechanic. Make much more than I ever would as a car mechanic. And like, sure, people could say, oh, well, you make more from your forum than you do as a mechanic. That's kind of how it goes. You know, running a YouTube channel like this, I make more than some doctors, you know, in all honesty. And that's okay, you know, because again, we provide a service. Like I think I do it correctly, where if I plug anything,
I tell people I'm biased in their favor because they pay me money, right? And I mean, that's better than almost everybody else. I don't see anybody else that really does it like that. I tell people what I consider the truth almost always. I can't remember a time where I didn't tell people, the truth or what I consider the truth in a lot of ways. I report on economic data very, very quickly. So we cover economic data really, really fast. And I only have 2 sponsors, right? So we only have 2 sponsors that really plug us. We don't have 30 sponsors. We got 2. And so in the end, I think we're very reasonable. We do maybe 1 plug an hour, maybe 1 plug an hour on average. I think that's very reasonable. We've done 1 plug today, all day. We've been streaming for like 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So, I mean, we do pretty well. But I think we do it the right way. And I would rather trust somebody. We're certainly doing this to make money, right? Like, I'm certainly doing this to make money. Anybody on YouTube is, though. Like, that's what you do here. The people aren't spending 3, 4, 5 hours a day out of the kindness of their heart. Nobody is, right? And anybody that claims to, I wouldn't trust them at all. I would much rather trust somebody that's very honest about their intentions than somebody that tries to lie. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to be live for FOMC. We're going to stream the whole thing. Y'all have no idea how much money I make. Bro, you've never had strawberry cake, dude? You're not living life, Ruma. Come on now, man. Strawberry cake, bro? How dare you, man? You need to broaden your horizon. You need to culture yourself a little bit. Try some strawberry cake, dude. It's delicious. All right, markets rip it up. I'm for it. John, can you explain the benefit of using a candle chart as opposed to a line chart? More data. Candle charts just give you way more data than a line chart. Line chart's just a line. Candlesticks show you tops, bottoms, wicks to indicate pressure. An example of this is like, look, you see these up wicks, right? What do these up wicks signify? They signify pressure. They signify getting pushed down. Same thing, down wicks signify what? Buying pressure, getting pushed up. Up wicks signify what? Selling pressure, get pushed down. Down wicks signify what? Buying pressure gets pushed up, right? So it's much more data than you would on a line chart. So with short-term trading, you should be using candlesticks. If you're not, you're missing out on the huge point of them, which is they give you more data short term in terms of like shorter term trading and predictions. You get to see more. It's why candlesticks are useful. Yeah, all good. Streaming it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are asking me. So there's a lot of nuance to YouTube. One of them is like, look, so YouTube goes by what's called CPM. It stands for cost per milli. It stands for how much you make per 1,000 views. But most people on YouTube make more from sponsorships, right? Like, I make way more money from sponsorships than I ever did on YouTube. I mean, we get money from YouTube too. From what's called the YouTube Partner Program, but there's multiple sources of income from running a community like this, not just from YouTube but elsewhere as well. Like there's a lot of different sources, and I mean, you got to think of it like this, right? My channel averages like 250 to 300,000 hits a month. You know what I mean? On take, like last year, we got close to 3 million views. So anytime you get that many eyes on something, you're going to make money from it. I mean, that's just an inevitable thing. And that's the future of business in general, right? The benefit of anything right now, like I used to skateboard, and I told this story a few days ago, but I'll go ahead and tell it again. When I used to skateboard as a teenager, right, if you really wanted to do it as like a career, you had to send in a sponsor me video to like a big time sponsor, and they had to contact you and hire you, and then they had to hire like a video camera guy and an editor and like all these different things back then just to get maybe a couple extra $100 a month skateboarding, right? Young people nowadays don't understand the edge that they have, right? Nowadays, you don't need any of that stuff. Nowadays, you can literally do all of that stuff yourself. You can literally use your phone, film yourself skateboarding, edit it on your phone, and then create a social media profile about your skateboarding to the world and earn money within a couple months of doing so. And so you could basically be your own boss now in a much more profound and easier way than you ever could 30 years ago. So technology, people, like young people, and this is something I told my daughter not too long ago, young people underestimate the edge that they have in terms of technology, because 30 years ago it just wasn't like this at all. Like 30 years ago, it was a very difficult thing to build a business around stuff that you enjoy, like around things that you love, passions of yours. 30 years ago, incredibly difficult to build a business around it. Modern day basically allows you to build businesses and monetize your passions in a so much more easy way. And like, yeah, influencers are shamed and made fun of, but like, I'm not out here doing TikTok dance videos, you know. Basically, you can make content about your passions and monetize it very easily now and make good money and earn more than you would doing other stuff. I think, you know, people give young people a lot of crap for like not wanting to go work at McDonald's or fast food restaurants or whatever it is at their first job. But you got to be objective and honest. If it was your first job, or if you were a young person, would you rather build something yourself like this that could earn money, or would you rather go work at a fast food restaurant and get condescended constantly? Like, I would much rather do it myself. And I think nowadays with technology, it's much easier to do. You could deliver food in a much easier way. You could drive Uber in a much easier way, probably make more money with less stress with everything. $2 million, bro. I wish I made that much money, dude. $2 million, dude. Bro, I'm gonna tell you this. That's certainly an overestimate. I wish I made that much, bro. $2 million, dude. Sheesh, man. Strawberry shortcake's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like actual strawberry cake, dude. Try it, man. It's good. Try like an Italian place. A lot of time Italian places will have it. I'm not going to be specific about how much I make, guys. I don't need to be. It's over six figures, so I mean, it's over 100K, I'll say. But that anything else, I'm just not. It's not worth it for me. I'll tell you this though, guys. So I know I'm talking like this. I've had people email me wanting me to teach them how to create a stock market live streaming channel. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to help build competition. I'm just not. I'm not going to help build competition. Good luck. I wish you guys the best. I've got a lot of friends here. Like, you know, Relentless Trader was here earlier. I support all the other streamers, of course. But a lot of the time what happens is like people watch me and then they want to do it themselves. And then they want me to help them build it. And look, like if you know, again, I'm just not going to help build competition. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm selfish for that, but like, you know. I don't want to sell a course, D-Trader. D-Trader says, John, you have all these viewers, sell a course for $50 a month and make $50,000 monthly. I don't want to sell a course, bro. I've backed myself into a corner. I'm not going to sell a course. I refuse to. Mostly because, like, I promise, again, I've said this before, if I wanted to make a sleazy course pretending to make millions in stock market investing and sell it to all my viewers, I certainly could. It could probably make millions of dollars just from selling the course, right? I don't, because I'd like to sleep good at night. I like the way it runs now, where I can tell people, yo, I'm not an expert. I'm not an investment professional. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I might be wildly wrong about everything I say. I like being able to say that and not have anybody. I could lose every day for a month straight and nobody can say a word to me because I don't tell anybody to copy me. I don't claim to be good. I don't claim to be an expert, and I'd like to keep it like that. You see a lot of those really sleazy channels like Atlas Trading that just basically pump up low float penny stocks to their viewers and end up getting, you know, getting that SEC smoke, and I don't want that. I'd rather just tell people the truth, which is that I'm not an expert. Don't claim to be profitable, don't claim to be anything. I'd rather just, you know, not worry about that at all. So the right side is the NASDAQ. The Q is basically the same thing. So this left and right side. Here's gold. Gold is now back over 2,000. So gold's back over 2K. OpenAI and Axel Springer reportedly inked a multi-year deal as media companies push for compensation for their use of content and AI, according to the Wall Street Journal. Also, Morgan Stanley is reportedly looking to sell unwanted corporate loans at a discount to European firms, according to Bloomberg. You have a good niche. I see you as a catcher in the rye to new traders that don't know their head from their butt. Yeah. Again, I hope they watch my channel first so they can protect themselves. Just because there's a lot of, you guys know how it is, man. The trading world's filled with nonsense. And I would rather be a place where, even if people disagree with me, right? You got some people that day trade penny stocks and like it, and that's fine. And maybe people do well at it. You got some people that trade options and like it, and maybe they do well at it, and that's great. There's a line that I draw in terms of like new traders, you know. Again, most of that revolves around penny stocks. Like, if you do not invest in penny stocks, if you want to day trade them, fine. Don't invest in penny stocks, because most penny stocks are going to fail, and I see new traders lose the most money in penny stocks mostly, right? Like, you see them lose so much money in penny stocks because they don't know any better. Like, penny stocks are super risky, and a lot of them will fail. Most of them will fail. Right, exactly, Joe's 100%. Gold right now is at about $19.99 an ounce for gold. Q is now over 400 a share. Again, here's the SPY. I'm gonna put this up so we can see both of them, and then I'm gonna put this chart up here. So PPI is already out. It dropped at 8:30. Today we also have the FOMC meeting later on this evening. Yeah, it's confirmation bias. You know, you get a lot of people that go from room to room trying to push up penny stocks, and again, if you're doing that, you're struggling. You know, but it's confirmation bias. Like, they desperately want it to go up, and so they're just desperate for it. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's confirmation bias. You are an expert at real estate. I'm not an expert at anything, bro. I got my real estate license, but I'm certainly not an expert at it. I don't actually sell that many houses because I don't actually want to, like, I don't have time to, like, be a full-time real estate agent as well. I got a wife and kids, and we've got our own stuff going on my end with in my home life. My son hasn't been in school, and it's been a big mess. He's supposed to go back though, so I'm ready for him. But yeah, it's been a lot. The NASDAQ? Yeah, maybe the NASDAQ drops. Again, I really don't know short term what it's going to do. We can look at, like, NVIDIA to see how these have reacted to it. Here's Tesla. Tesla at 235s, almost 235s. Dipping down a little bit today, but bounced back from the PPI report. You can also look at, like, NVIDIA, another one of the big stocks that's been influencing the market heavily. NVIDIA at 475s. Right now, getting closer to 500. What's FX choice? Yeah, I don't trade Forex. There's too much red tape in Forex. It just doesn't make sense to. So, like, why? Like, again, most Forex traders probably should be trading futures. You can trade some currencies in futures as well. Like, on Top Step, you can day trade like a bunch of different. I think you could day trade like the euro and a bunch of other stuff. And so, like, why use something that you have to mask your VPN and do all this crazy stuff? Why not just trade futures? You know, and again, if you want to check out futures, here's Top Step's link. Great way to help support the channel. The other one of my sponsors is a company called Chart Prime. It's a trading view indicator service that you can use in stocks, crypto, forex, futures. Again, I can't guarantee you're going to make money. Nobody can. But there's a lot of edge that you can find in these, in my opinion. You know, again, they give you custom indicators, so it's kind of like custom VWAP almost with their dynamic reactor. Here's a 5-minute chart in futures. And again, you can kind of see even today, right? So even looking at these today, it's pretty impressive, right? So this is pretty impressive. So here's Chart Prime. So these buy and sell signals are called the Market Oracle Pro on Chart Prime. Look at the sell signal here. These are 5-minute charts. So this is like an hour and a half of bearish action after this signal. This is like an hour and a half of bullish action after that signal. Sell signal here worked as well. You got breakdowns for like 3 hours. Buy signal here. We bounced up a little bit after that one as well. We'll see if this reversal signal works. And again, this line is kind of like their custom VWAP. It's called a dynamic reactor, and you can kind of see we bounced off of that. So most of these work today, and this is a 5-minute chart. There's so much stuff that you can use. I can zoom out here, and they have chart patterns. They have like flag patterns, wedges, all these different tools that you can use. Let me see if I can throw it on. Here's the chart patterns link. Let's wait for it. And so you can see another big edge. Like look at the break of these patterns and how well it works. Another powerful tool that I use for my trading is engulfing candles. Engulfing candles are so useful. So like if you look at this, here's an engulfing candle right here, short-term breakdown. Here's 2 engulfing candles, short-term breakdown. And so I use engulfing candles a ton for market influence. And this is just a small piece of what they offer. Again, you can look at smart money concepts. They have screeners. You can use their back tester if you pay for the lifetime subscription. And there's just a lot of cool stuff. I could put on an hourly chart. I've been using an hourly chart lately for the Market Oracle Pro. So here's the Market Oracle Pro. And again, check it out. So here's an hourly chart, right? Look, sell signal, drop, buy signal, bounce. Strong sell signal, drop, strong buy signal, bounce. Sell signal, drop, buy signal, bounce. I go on and on. Strong buy signal here worked. Maybe this one didn't work, but again, I can't guarantee you're going to make money. And again, I always try to be honest about sponsors. Like, of course, nobody can guarantee profits in any way. This is just a tool to help your trading and give you kind of custom indicators. And it's like $50 a month if you use my link. So it's pretty useful. But again, I'm definitely biased in their favor because they pay me money and they're a sponsor of mine. It's a great way to help support our free content, though. Again, guys, I'm always very transparent and honest about it. Like, helping support our sponsors is also a way to help support like free trading content where we put out stuff for free. We don't sell a course. I'm not going to do that. But we do have sponsors to subsidize the channel, of course, which should, again, be pretty understandable. But yeah, check out the link. It's right here if you want to check it out. The leverage you get from futures varies depending on the platform. What's up, Tiny? Hey, I hope you're doing well, Tiny. Some Forex you do. Again, Forex is not my big niche, so. So far, the Nasdaq's been on this nice little upward trend here. I don't know how long this trend is going to hold, though. So, like, I can try to draw out this trend here. Let's try to get the same. All right, so there's the... That's a trend that I currently see. I don't know if we're going to hold that trend, but that's what I currently see here. We'll see if it holds. If you've never traded futures, try out a funded account program like Top Step. It's like $49. It'll allow you to try it out with a demo account, and if you're good enough to pass it, they'll fund you. If you're not good enough to pass it, you'll lose less than putting up money up yourself. And so if it was me, of course I'm biased, but if it was me, I'd try to fund an account program first. You're just going to typically save money most of the time. But again, it varies. And again, I'm biased. I don't usually trade Forex. All right, so we got this trend. Part of me wants to buy it here just based off of this trend. Yeah, 7.5 interest rates freaking out. I mean, it doesn't make sense to buy, in my opinion, right now. And again, this is something that not a lot of real estate agents. And again, I'm not a real estate professional. I'm not speaking as a real estate agent or anything like that. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't copy me. But most real estate agents right now are going to be like, yeah, it's always a good time to buy it because you could just refinance, is what they're going to tell you. Now is one of the worst times you could ever have buying a house. Market fear is there. Real estate decline is there. We haven't really seen a crash or a huge pullback in prices from these declines, but home buying is drying up. in that regard, right? And so most likely what's going to happen moving forward is eventually we're going to see some corrections in price in real estate. Interest rates are sky high, and one of the conventional appeals of getting a mortgage is that you can own a home and pay less for your mortgage than you would for rent. Right now, it's the opposite. Right now, that's not happening. So right now, you're actually going to pay more to mortgage a home than you are to rent a home in a lot of places. So rent is low, mortgages are high, interest rates are high. They're almost 3 times higher than they were 3 years ago. You know what I mean? It's just not a good time to get a mortgage right now, is the reality of it. And so because of that, the home market's struggling. Commercial real estate is even worse, is in an even worse slump, and it's really struggling. Like, commercial is on a big downward decline, and it has been for years. Mostly, there's a lot of nuance of why commercial is on a big decline. The first one is mostly because remote work. Like, you can use stuff like Zoom and other stuff like it and work from home. And businesses are starting to realize that the margins are so much better using remote work than, they don't need to fill warehouses with 1,000 people anymore. They can instead have everybody work remotely, get about the same amount of productivity done with much better margins, right? And so over time, technological growth is going to impact commercial real estate so heavily on the negative side that it's obviously risky right now. Now, the silver lining to that could be that, even coming soon, maybe you're going to get some deep discounts on commercial properties. And so you can maybe find some gems in commercial if you look hard enough. Maybe. Again, I'm not saying you will, but, you try to find the silver lining in things. I think that's one of them. Yeah, because I'm not actually, I don't even know if my real estate license is active right now. I'm not giving you real estate advice right now. I'm just telling you my own subjective opinion. And what a lot of mortgage brokers and real estate agents will tell you now is that you could always refinance. And it's like, bro, no. It's really, even though 7.5% isn't super high relative to average, it's still so much higher than it was 3 years ago. 3 years ago it was 2.5%. So even though 7.5% is not crazy high, it's still really high compared to the last decade. And so that's the hard selling point of it. Yeah, there's no 2 stages, Jay. It's 1 stage, Jay, from my understanding. So this is a trading view indicator service is what Chart Prime is. Yeah, Maria, it depends on which one you have. There's multiple different ones. So if you look at it, the ones that I was showing on the chart is the Market Oracle Pro. And so the Market Oracle Pro is the one I had on my chart, which is this one. Buy and sell signals. Again, I have a list of them here, but you're not going to have access to all of these. It depends on which one you buy. Ford? I think I'm in Ford right now. I'm down slightly on Ford. We're actually green on the day after this report, though, so that's nice. Seven and a half is prime, yeah. Which one, Maria? I mean, again, it depends on which one you're looking at, Maria. I would just check. I would reach out to them. If you're having struggles, I can connect you with somebody, but again, they're just a sponsor of mine, so you probably want to reach out to them if you want to see how you can access different things. Okay, so the Market Oracle Pro doesn't show what? What are you not seeing? Wall Street bases for a big test of dovish Fed bet. Yeah, so again, today, remember, we got the FOMC meeting. This is the big boy report that you want to pay attention to. FOMC meeting's huge. All right, we got 15 minutes here. 15 minutes. We kind of broke out of this little trend that we drew. Maybe we could short this trend now, but maybe not. We're still kind of sitting back tight waiting for it. Yes, I understand you have the Oracle Pro. What I'm asking, Maria, is what does it not show you that I have on screen? Again, the Market Oracle Pro looks like this. It's the buy and sell signals. Okay, so what are you not seeing? Are you not seeing buy and sell signals? Again, I'm not sure. Again, reach out to them if you're having issues with like what you see. Again, it's not, this is a sponsor of mine, you know. Yeah, so it's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stans is when the actual rate hike decision is. The actual press conference is at 2:30. Hey, what's up, R? The reversal pattern's the regular market oracle. But again, whether you have that one or not is dependent on which package you bought and when. I bought this package a little bit ago. So the market oracle, regular market oracle is what that one's called. Let me ask them if people still have access to that one. Because again, then some of these are available when you buy it. %, Santa rally, I hope so. Yeah, well, I'll have to reach back out to them. Alright, well, it's good to know then. They must have updated a new one. If you're going to buy multifamily investment property anyway, you'll have to go hard money loans. No one wants to do that, or should I say no one has the money for that. Yeah, hard money loans are risky, man. They're such high, they're just super high interest, you know? $8 to 15%. Yeah, so just to put this in perspective, right? So you get hard money loans, or like when you pay monthly for hard money loans, it's just on the interest payment, right? And so at the end of the term, say you get a year hard money loan for 100,000, right? So say you get a hard money loan for 100K, right? And you got to pay 8% of that monthly, right? You're gonna pay so much money for that. Let me see. I've never actually done a hard money loan. Oof. Hard money loan, 200,000, 10% interest rate, 24 months, 12 months holding time. So you're gonna have to pay. Okay, yeah, I see. All right, so yeah, say you get a $100,000 loan and you're paying 10% for a hard money loan, right? So 10% of this is you're gonna pay about $10,000 for this hard money loan. So you're gonna pay about 10K for this hard money loan. So every month you're gonna have to pay. $830, and then at the end you're gonna have to pay back your money. So you're gonna end up paying freaking $10,000 to get that loan, and then you're gonna have to pay it back very, very quickly, which is good and all, but I don't know, man. It's just risky. Yeah, well, it's kind of like yeah, so I gotta be able to see if I can remove this. Let's see. That was getting nice. All right, guys. Hey, we got 8 minutes here. 8 minutes. Where's my music, man? I lost my music. I got so many freaking monitors. Hard money means short term. Hard money means you have to pay it all back short term, right? So like an example of a hard money loan is like you got a again, a hard money loan, say you get loaned $200,000, interest rate of 10%. You got 2 years to pay it back. You know what I mean? You're going to have to pay $20,000 for that loan, you know? So you're going to have to pay 10% of that loan. Where a conventional loan, you know what I mean, might be, let me see, might be 30 years, you know. Right, so a conventional loan, you might pay 5% interest on a conventional loan. Right now it's about 7.5%, but of course, conventional loan, you get $200,000 loan, you pay 5%. Over the term of that loan, it's 360 months, you know. Holding time, you're going to pay about 100% of that value of the loan over time on 186,000 versus 200,000. So basically, hard money loan, shorter term, higher interest. Soft money loan, longer term, lower interest. Most of the time, like flippers use hard money loans versus soft money loans because they need the money now. I don't know. Mortgages are favorable. Like, remember, okay, so you got to think about it like this, really. Okay, is that interest rates, inflation is going to devalue your money over time. And so again, all the investment vehicles that you use are the sole purpose of them is to keep up with inflation long term, right? So the sole reason you invest in anything, for the most part, of course, like you're doing it to make money, but one of the main reasons is simply to keep up with inflation long term, right? You want to keep up with inflation long term. If you don't invest your money and you sit on cash, you're going to lose money to inflation long term, right? So one of the ways to keep up with inflation, again, is to invest in different things. Now, you can buy gold. Gold has 7x'd over the last 25 years. You could buy the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, silver. You could buy real estate. You can do all these different things to keep up with inflation. Another one of the ways you can do it is you can get a mortgage, right? And mortgages certainly keep up with inflation. You know, what I mean by that is not always to a T, but mortgages certainly can be used as an inflation hedge. You might say, how? How is getting a mortgage and locking yourself into debt going to keep up with inflation? It's simple. So say you get a mortgage, right? Say you get a 30-year mortgage, your rate is 5%. Say you're paying for this mortgage, say it's a $200,000 loan, right? You're paying 5% for 30 years, right? So you're going to be paying about $1,000 a month, a little bit over, about $1,100 a month in that 5% loan over, of $200,000 over 30 years, right? So you're going to be paying about $1,000 a month. You might say, well, how does that keep up with inflation? Over time, look at the NASDAQ dip really, really heavily, guys. Look at the NASDAQ dump. It's not a crazy big dip, I guess, but this is a big drop. Anybody know why the market's diving like this, team? I don't know. I see Nvidia ramp up. I see the Q dipping down some. So one of the big tech stocks is falling. What is it? Apple. It looks like it's mostly Apple. So it's Apple falling. Apple's diving down. Let's see why. But anyways, to go back to my previous point. Over time, inflation is going to happen. So you having to pay $1,100 a month in a mortgage payment is going to be significantly less influential over your bills. It's going to be significantly less impactful for you, right? Basically, over time, $1,100 over 20, 30 years is going to turn into chump change over time, thus combating inflation, right? Thus hedging against inflation. That's the way mortgages are also a hedge against inflation. Because again, if you pay $700 a month, right now $700 a month might seem like a lot. In 20 years, it's not going to be a significant amount at all. All right, so again, Apple falling down some. Let me see if the chat knows why we're getting such big pullbacks here. All right, market opens up in 2.5 minutes. Yeah, I don't know why the Nasdaq's fallen so much. I mean, again, we're still kind of flat from this PPI report. And I always told you guys, PPI is kind of one of those ones where I don't freaking know what's going to happen. What it looks like this dip is in Apple. So I'm not sure why we're dipping like this, but hey, we're dipping. S&P's dipping down. It's not the most dramatic dip either. We're basically flat from PPI heading into the open. So we'll see what this looks like continuing. Short crash predictors are going to say, it's time. See? I told you so. 0.25% dip. Correct about a market crash prediction. Report about App Store profits under siege. Okay. Yeah, again, market's still pretty neutral here. Apple's still technically green on the day. If we look at like the SPY, here's the opening bell. SPY is still technically green on the day. The Nasdaq is still technically green on the day. So again, you might have called some big market pullback, but this isn't quite it. Yeah, we're dipping down a little bit. It just looks more profound on the chart. Again, we can draw this dip. I should have taken this trend break. We had this trend. Look at the break. It would have worked. Watch Nvidia as well. Maybe Microsoft also. Let me see. All right, so here's the market open, guys. We got 20 seconds. Microsoft's down some too, but could be worse. Still kind of flat. John, do you mean the $1,100 turning into chump change is due to you, the individual, making more, or just because of overall inflation? Well, I mean, a little bit of both, of course. Nvidia just broke highs. Over time, you should make more money, and that's just the natural flow of things. See, now we're popping right back up. Very weird volatility here, but that's all right. I tend to want to be short right now, in all honesty. I'm short. Risky position, though. Well, we're going to cut that. Just got faked out. Nasdaq's flying up. Q is ripping up. Nvidia's ripping up too. Hit 478. See, the S&P is not really following the NASDAQ up, so it looks like it's mostly tech-driven, is this pullback. All right, we're scalping a little bit more in the E-mini here. And again, you can kind of see we're riding this down, up 50 on the rest. See, NVIDIA's starting to retrace back up there. I'm going to cut this and get out. And maybe wait. This is a big NASDAQ bounce. Look at the Q rip. Look at the NASDAQ rip. Wow. The left side's the NASDAQ 100. Yeah. I'm going to buy this, although it's risky. We're going to buy this pullback in the NASDAQ. See if we get a big retracement back up. Just made 130 bucks. We called it. I'm going to buy this again. We'll probably add to this too if we get some good action. We got some down wicks here. We got 2 contracts here. Taking a risk into the cushion that we have on the day. Bad fills here, though. We're going to cut it if we break the bottom of this range. Right back up to the top. I'm gonna unload half of this position here just because I don't like it. I don't trust it is the easiest way to put it. If we rip up, great, we'll take our money, but we're gonna preserve our risk here a little bit and yeah, cut it. So it looks like cutting it there was the right move. We're actually still technically green on the day. Yeah, we're technically green. And again, here's the E-mini. Doing a very similar thing, although we do have an upwick. Remember, we do have the rollover today. Here's the S&P 500. See, NVIDIA is starting to bounce. Alright, so we might buy this dip here if we can. Yeah, it's choppy right now. I'm gonna put the NASDAQ back up. So we ended up making a little bit just now. Look at the Q. It's the high of the day. I don't want to buy the high of the day breakout though. I gotta watch Apple, which is flying up right now. We bought this dip. We just made another 120 or so. So we could scalp better. We got the pullback. NVIDIA is what's ramping up right now, guys. NVIDIA is starting to surge back up. Where's Tesla at right now? Tesla now falling a little bit. Look at NVIDIA though. It's at 481.40s. Microsoft's choppy too. Again, we're too extended on the upside for my taste here. You can see the Q on the top right. Nvidia's still ramping up too, though. Again, up a little bit too much. Hey, we did break 161,000 or 121,000 subs, so thanks so much, team. We appreciate it. Little dip. I need a larger dip in the NASDAQ for me to really be interested in buying this dip first, though. We're not getting that yet. It's too strong. Yep, there's the bounce. Q ripping up to almost 401 here, man. Where's the lifetime highs on the Q? Lifetime highs, the Q is at 408, so we're almost up to 401. So we're getting very close to the lifetime highs on the Q. Again, Nvidia up to 482s right now, 482s. There's a pullback. Need a larger one here. So we're getting dips. I'm going to buy this here. I know it's kind of risky. We've just got a nice cushion on the day, so I can take the risk. We just got to be careful because sometimes downward takes the elevator, and we don't want the elevator. We want the stairs up. I'm going to buy this too. This is the last contract we're going to buy. We have a $400 cushion on the day, so we can swing into that risk, take larger size. Not going to take larger size than this. We'll just play with the risk we have on the day. See if we start to get a bounce up and a retracement up. Retracement back up. I see Nvidia start to run back up. This should help us. But this is taking too long. What's Apple doing? Apple's pulling back too, unfortunately. Yeah, maybe a little bit greedy here. We'll cut it. We also could just get chop. So we're still technically green on the day, but we took a risk. And this is kind of how it goes sometimes with trading up on the day. This is kind of how it goes, man. The S&P 500, look, is moving a little bit differently relative to the NASDAQ. The Dow is moving even more differently than all of it. Well, Andy, I've never seen you before, so, I mean, if you gotta go somewhere, bro. Watch Nvidia. Yeah, I mean, I've asked people. Most people like the music, so, you know, I'm just going to stick with what most people want. You can't please everybody. Sitting tight. You can see Nvidia start to try to ramp higher. I hope we keep going higher. PayPal. I'm in PayPal right now. I hope it goes up, but I have no idea what it's going to do, man. PayPal. I see Apple trying to break highs. Looks strong up here. AI C3? Yeah, where's C3 at? Apple breaking highs. C3's down. Where's Nvidia? Nvidia's still consolidating, mostly sideways, neutral. Powell's at 2:30. So Powell starts. So Powell speaks at 2:30, right? But his speech is going to be, his rate hike decision is going to be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So Powell speaks at 2 p.m. or Powell rate hike decision is at 2 p.m. and then his actual speech is at 2:30, right? So he's going to speak at 2 p.m. and then his actual speech is going to be at 2:30. So, all right, big breakdown in the S&P. I'm going to put the Dow up here. Dow has been one that we've been playing with a little bit more. Also, so probably gonna put the Dow up and play with that. Yeah, and so we did. Also, I just hit my max loss on this other account that I was up $400 on. Luckily, it's just a combine account, but we did just hit our max loss trading the NASDAQ off stream. Want to be transparent about it. We've got a bunch of these, and again, we're funded in 2 accounts yet. I haven't really started trading my actual funded account. I'll probably at least wait until the FOMC meeting is started for that, just because I don't trust it that much. I think we could get choppy behavior if we look at the NASDAQ. And remember, the rollover finalization is tomorrow. But here's the NASDAQ, which we got a slight trend, but still. I don't know if I trust it enough to really want to take a position here. We could switch over to a different one yet. So this is our actual funded account. I see a little bit of a trend, but again, I just don't trust it. So we're going to switch over to our actual funded account. I'm going to buy this here because this is the $400 level. So this is our actual funded account, which we're green on already. Goal is to build up a cushion first in the funded account and then take larger risks if we can. If not, we're just going to get out with a small loss if we get there with it. So up, nice. Up, didn't hold it long enough. Need a little bit more gains from this. We're right at $400 on the SPY, right? So I don't want to risk too much here. We crack the bottom of this candle, we're probably going to cut it. And we're starting to move up. Pop. We just need to pop and hold it for a little bit. I see Nvidia start to run. Look at Nvidia here on the right side. Nvidia's breaking highs. Retracing back and forth though, and we're not going to be able to hold this here. Maybe getting a little stubborn with this. It's just taking too long. We're gonna have to cut it. All right, so we just lost maybe $100 on our funded account. $130 actually. Yeah, we're gonna be streaming the FOMC meeting as well. But again, we're getting chopped, guys. So I'll probably just hang it up and come back for the FOMC meeting if that's cool. See if we get some better price action there. Because again, right now we're just struggling to have any type of good returns here. SPY bounce off the 200. Yeah, so this is the P&L today so far. On our funded account, we're down 140. Yesterday, I think we made some money, though. Yeah. Have you ever heard of Top Step? Yeah, I mean, I'm sponsored by Top Step. There's a big Top Step logo on the bottom of my screen. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're sponsored by them. Again, today's one of those days where, though, team, ahead of these economic reports, a lot of the time the market's really boring and slow. You know what I mean? So again, ahead of these reports, you probably want to scale down your size and take it pretty slow. Because again, right now we're kind of getting choppiness. A lot of big time traders are less likely to take big positions ahead of these economic meetings because they know the volatility that we're going to get from it. Yeah, I'm buying up some stocks too ahead of this report. But let me see. Here, sorry, we're entering very small positions on pullbacks. Try to fix our average a little bit in some of our blue chips. We're down like $85 in equities today, though. So overall, we're red. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bow out. Again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step, funded account program and futures. You can day trade in the futures market with no PDT rule. And it's what most day traders actually day trade futures that are professionals because there's better liquidity. I can basically day trade the Q. If you look at the Q in the top right, and then you look at the NASDAQ and futures, it's the same thing. And I can buy market, sell market, all that good stuff with no PDT rule. I can day trade short, all that good stuff. Again, no PDT rule in these futures funded account programs. And so it's just really useful in that way where you can limit your risk in these things without taking on, the risk of putting up all this crazy money yourself. Again, most day traders lose money, right? So if you think about the fact that most day traders lose, it makes a lot of sense to limit your risk in a funded account program as opposed to putting up the money up yourself. And so again, if you want to check out Top Step, here's the link. I appreciate the love, guys. I'll see you guys later. We'll be back later on to stream the FOMC meeting. So again, hit that subscribe button. I'll be back later on today. Again, of course, I'm biased in Top Step's favor because they're a sponsor of mine. They pay me money. But again, check them out. I'll see you guys later. We'll be back at the meeting's going to be at 2:30, but we're going to be back much earlier than that. So subscribe, hit the bell. We'll see you guys then.